And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, we got Trump going on a pardoning and/or commutation spree. We got Larry Hoover, NBA Youngboy, the white couple from that TV show. I don't know their name. Shout out to them. Quite a few pardons and commutations. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, Jordan Peterson got into a debate with some atheists. It was a little rocky. Some said that he did a good job. If he did a good job, I can't tell. Them young people tore him to pieces. And I think that it was good to have that discussion to show just the disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation in general. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, President Macron of France getting mushed in the face by his wife, quote unquote. What's going on with that? 25 years age difference, 15 when they first met, and she was 40 as his teacher. Wouldn't that be something you would get locked up for in the USA? We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Plus, the big, beautiful spending bill. Some say that it's too much. Trump's going and just bringing back all the things that Doge got rid of. Is that true? Is that false? I guess maybe only time will tell. Maybe only the bill will tell. We'll talk about all those things and a whole lot more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank you all for joining me yet again. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Looking at the comments already. Yeah, hey, y'all immediately in the comments cutting up, talking about she. What do you mean she? Talking about Brigitte Macron. Now, look, I have to say she because I can't be accused of saying something that might not be true. I'm not saying that this person can't be a man. I'm not saying that. If I was a betting man, hey, you know what? If I was to go to Vegas and have to put my house on black, I might do that in this case, if that makes any sense. As far as her being the man versus being the woman. Yeah, that might make sense, but I can't really say that because, oh, you're spreading rumors, misinformation. I'm just going to kind of hint towards it like everybody else does, you know, as far as my humble opinion. But anyway, shout out to Brigitte, Brock, or whatever this person's name is. I mean, listen, I have never in my life seen such a thing. The president of a nation getting mushed. And, you know, I appreciate you guys who liked the term mush. I appreciate y'all for that because I didn't know if y'all was going to catch up on that. I didn't know if that was a term that was used a lot throughout the country because sometimes I say things, people are like, what is that? What are you talking about? But the mush, I'm glad y'all got it because it wasn't a slap. It wasn't one of those. That would have been crazy. A slap, an open-handed slap. And if he bled a little bit, oh my God, that would have been just that. Oh my goodness. Hey, wave the white flag yet again. Macron, wave the white flag yet again. That's what y'all good for right in France. But anyway, shout out to the French. That would have been worse. And it wasn't a punch. It wasn't one of those deals. It was a mush. And he looked so surprised. Like, and the funny part, he talking about we were just playing. Look, I don't know about y'all. But I don't play like that. I don't play like that. Nah. I'm not going to mush you, and you better not mush me. Don't do that. and that's all I'm going to say. Don't mush me, punch me. The physical violence, I don't play that kind of game. I've never done that, and I will never receive that. And I tell you what, if I feel you know what? Can I tell you one quick story? I almost got hit one time by a girl. Almost. Like she tried. She was just tripping. I didn't do anything wrong, just so you know. But when she tried, I hit the Philly shell on her. Like it was like an instinct. Like she kind of swung like this, and I went like that instinctively. So she just hit my shoulder. But yeah, and I almost put myself get ready to square up. I'm like, we're not going to do this right now. I'm going to just go like that and block the hit and walk away. Because I ain't trying to be in there like Floyd Mayweather. I'm not trying to be in the news blotter. Anthony Brian Logan, YouTuber, arrested, domestic assault. I'm not trying to be Ha Ha Davis. I'm not trying to be Bill Cosby and none of these guys getting put on TV. Even if the person hits you first, they ain't going to care. Hey, shoulder, all right, I'm out. Getting mushed in the face is crazy. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Shout out to you guys again for being here. I appreciate y'all for joining. Yeah, so the moral of that story, before we go any further, no domestic violence. I don't play that game at all. Some people, they with it though. I had a neighbor, I told y'all before, I had a neighbor, they would fight every Wednesday, like clockwork. And you would hear it start to escalate. Y'all seen an episode of Family Guy where it was an elephant in the room and then it was a couple next door fighting and stuff. I've experienced that in my real life. They were upstairs. They were brief tenants. They wound up getting evicted because they would fight every Wednesday. And her voice, like they would start an argument. I think she was initiator of the argument, to be totally honest with you. I hear her talking a lot. And then he begins to talk a lot. His voice gets louder and louder. Her voice gets louder. And then her voice reaches a certain peak. And then they go to punch every Wednesday. Now, people are going to call the police and say, hey, he's up there whooping her. But she's not going to go nowhere. So what are you going to do? The police get there and then they leave 5 minutes later. But ultimately, they wind up getting evicted. Yeah. So domestic violence, stuff like that, man. Nah, keep your hands to yourself, please. Keep your hands to yourself. If you feel like you might have to resort to that, it's time for you to go ahead and leave. That's just simple as that. So yeah, shout out to y'all. Eugene says, put your hair up and square up. Put your hair up and square up is off the chain. That is unhinged. Now, put your hair up and get the H up out of my house. How about that? That's what I say. And Monique says they scheduled their fights specifically for Wednesdays, every Wednesday, just like this show. I promise. It was like clockwork. I don't know if he had some kind of schedule where he would get off work at a certain time on that day. I don't know what it was, but that was what they did every Wednesday for like 6 months. But if you like what you're hearing so far, I know domestic violence, great way to start the show. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And we got a whole lot going on. There's so much happening, a whole lot of different things happening. People are afraid about the economy. I like what's happening right now with the economy. I think it's opportunity economy. It's the time right now. If you're a young person, this is the best time for you because you're able to learn a skill that you know will be in demand for a very long time in this country. You're able to learn skills that won't be taken over by AI anytime soon. This is the best time to be a young person, especially a young man. You're able to get into the skilled trades. You're able to get into anything dealing with your hands. Plumbing is a really big one. Truck driving, anything dealing with your hands, anything dealing with physical things in life. In your walk in life, physical, actual objects. If you do with that, this is the best time for you. When I was young, my thing was really sales. That's what I was always good at, was getting you to buy something from me, and I could produce it as well. So I was able to build my clientele doing my club flyers and brochures and everything like that because my personality, people will always get sold on me. They want to come to see me. That's the whole thing. So I was able to really build myself off of that. And if you're a young person right now, you could do that. You could do sales. You can do anything dealing with your hands, anything building things, making things, selling, anything like that. You could really do it. Physical items in the world, whether you're manipulating material, whether you're producing it in a different kind of way, whether you're selling a thing that already exists, physical items in the real world. That's how you're really going to get it right now in this economy. So it's definitely a great time, especially for young people, in my humble opinion. Okay, get some skills, things that you can actually produce tangibly. Jay says plumbing, no computer can replace. Exactly. As of right now, a computer cannot get up under that slab foundation and fix that pipe problem. As of right now, a computer cannot clear out a blockage or repair or service a septic tank. I saw young guys out here today dealing with the AC units. As of right now, a computer cannot go out there and perform maintenance on the air conditioning unit outside or inside. Okay, so that's definitely what you want to get into right now. If you're looking to make money, you're looking to have a career, and you want to be able to prevent being taken over by AI. Because AI moving so fast. It's like lightning quick, lightning speed. Things are changing very quickly because of AI. And you're going to see it as AI advances. You're going to see it. The changes are going to happen so fast, you're not going to really notice it until it's already way too late. Evergreen says they can't wire your house either. That's right. You know, the electricians. Hey, shout out to my cousin / nephew. Shout out to my cousin. He's 26. He an electrician. So he travel the country, working on jobs all over the place. So the world is his oyster because he's not constrained to a device that will eventually replace him. He could be all over the whole country, all over the whole world with that kind of skill, a very important skill to have in today's US of A. Master electricians, right on. Carrie Cree says, house help and yard work for elderly neighbors is always needed. Of course, if they're rude, charge extra. Oh, yeah, that's a big thing. And, you know, one thing that we're dealing with in this country is a lower than, how can I say, a low birth rate, but much lower than what is sustainable. We have an unsustainable birth rate. We're at about a 1.63 in the USA, which is below the 2.1. And I always speak about this because it's important. If you don't have 2.1 birth rate, you're going to decline in population. So if you have certain cities that have a population and that population is not being replaced with younger people, especially, then you got a lot of elderly people without young people to help them with anything. They can't, like, for example, right now, if you're young, especially, you cut your grass, you get out there with no problem. You might get hills, you might have high elevation, whatever, it's no problem because you're young. But as you get to age, you're getting to be like in your 50s, in your 60s, it becomes harder and harder. And if you're 75 years old, you're not trying to be cutting acres of grass if you don't have to, even on the riding lawnmower. Especially now on the push mower, you're going to be exhausted. So that's where the youth come in. So lawn care, anything dealing with home maintenance, that's going to be a thing that is always going to be reserved for young people because the AI cannot replace you. Computers cannot replace you. Machines cannot replace you. Not yet. They can't do it. NERN, see, look, they cannot replace ABL with AI because AI cannot have my personality. AI is not going to be able to do what I do. You know, the most they're going to be able to do is write prompts and make a character that looks like me get on the internet to start talking, but they're not going to be able to, they can't replicate how I actually speak and my thought process. They can't do that yet. That's why I said we're talking about newscasters that are very dry and this is 10 p.m. news. That right there could be easily replaced because you have no personality in it. All you have is a look and words that you just read from a screen with no originality and no original thought process from your mind. No originality as far as the delivery and no original thought process. So thank you, Jennifer. I'm an original. That's right. All right. Debbie says, ABO, it's the best time to retire, which is what I've done. Hey, if you're able to retire right now, I say go ahead and rock out. I think we're all at different stages of our life. Some are very young. Some are retirement age. Some are like right in between, still working. So whatever makes the most sense for you, I say go ahead and do it. All right. Shout out to, what's that? Daryl Douglas, who says, shout out the Pacers from Indy. Hold on. Good evening, Patriots. Shout out to you, boss. Shout out to you. All right. I got a lot we're going to get to before we get to all the economy talk. But of course, shout out to you guys for being the best sponsor in the world, for watching the videos. And shout out to you guys who were on the Instagram stream last night. If y'all don't know, I do an Instagram stream every Tuesday. And I think my time is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, go to the Instagrams and we could talk over there. It's a smaller conversation, much more intimate, about 20, 30 of us is good over there. So Instagram, check me out. I'll be over there. And I think I'm going to also do a Facebook stream. I got to do a Facebook stream because Facebook is really jumping right now. I'm getting a lot of views and I'm kind of going viral a little bit on Facebook. So I may end up doing the Facebook stream as well. Maybe I could do the Instagram and Facebook one together. If I could do a multi-stream, I don't know. But definitely check me out on the Instagrams on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. If you were there last night, shout out to you. But of course, you guys are the best sponsor, the first sponsor. And I also have patriotpost.us, your best source of news and information anywhere on these interwebs. Their link will always be in the description, or just go to patriotpost.us in your browser. Tell them that ABL sent you. Also go to ablmerch.com. That is ablmerch.com. We got the hats, the t-shirts, the stickers, the hoodies, mugs, and more on the website ablmerch.com. Also, please go to my regular website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Go to the front page of the website, and on that front page, you'll see articles for each video that I produce. And in each article, I got sources from the left, from the right, from the center, from Democratic, Republican, politically agnostic, local, national, international, whatever you want. I got it right there on the front page of the website, anthonyblogan.com. Also, please go to the contact page of the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact-us. There you'll be able to find my email address, my snail address, my UPS box, of course, my social media links, my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, never going to call it X, TikTok. All my links are right there on the contact page of the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact-us. And as I always say, if you're ever wondering if you are conversing with me on the interwebs or not, please check the method of communication. Check that out. If you got a 5,000-digit WhatsApp number, if you got a sketchy looking email, okay, something weird, it doesn't look right, it's too good to be true, it probably is. I'm not going to be in the comment section of YouTube talking about get rich quick, send me $1 million, I'll give you $5 back. It's not me. All right. So I don't want to get emails from y'all talking about, I thought I could trust your ABL. It's not me. I promise. It's going to be a dude over in Lagos, Nigeria. We might look similar in the face, but I promise it's not me. Okay. Like he might even get you on a video call. He over there in the wife beater. The background's crazy. Hello, I may be here today, but I don't have my backgrounds because I'm in transitions right now. I don't have my things. That's not me. I promise it's not. And I definitely don't look like a white European dude because they do the same thing. Some of the Indians, they do the same thing. So to avoid any impersonators, to avoid any other nonsense, just don't fall for any get rich quick schemes on the internet from me or anyone else because you're going to get got immediately. And when the money is gone, it's gone forever. Now, speaking about money being gone forever, the George Floyd situation. Now, this was just a 5-year anniversary of his death. Now, I was seeing some weird things about this. I was seeing some weird things on both sides of it, okay? I was seeing some conservative people celebrating it. Me, I was ignoring it. I didn't want nothing to do with it because George Floyd, that was a time when black areas really, for the most part, were being destroyed by blacks, non-whites, everybody from outside of Minneapolis. For what reason? Political purposes, trying to stoke civil unrest because of the election, because of Donald Trump. Anyway, the reason I was against the whole George Floyd thing is because A, I don't think Derek Chauvin did that. And B, all of the negativity that came from it just hurt regular people who were not even involved with any of the protests. Regular normies, old ladies can't go to the store no more because outsiders looted it. And they were funded largely, in my opinion, by your George Soros of the situation. Like, that's what happened. So I was totally against all the George Floyd celebration, protests, anything dealing with that. It just stokes division, racism, civil unrest, all the negative things. Now, this is some of these leaders recently kneeling in front of a Target because of the whole George Floyd kerfuffle. Let's watch. Now, look, okay, we see the kneeling and everything else, but can I say something right quick? Now, people think that this works, partially because there was a report that came out that said Target had lost a certain amount of money over the past 6 months to a year. People think the reason they lost money is because of the whole DEI protest. Remember that? So Target had cut out the DEI programs, and then there was a protest. A lot of black folks have said, you know what, I'm not going to shop there anymore. White folks too. It wasn't just a black thing, but mostly a black thing. I'm not going to shop there anymore, or I'm going to just not go there for a day. The funniest part about that was when they said, okay, we're going to boycott them for a day. People went to Target the night before to stock up for the protest. It's like that defeats the purpose. So you're going to go get your items you were going to get anyway for the week, but you won't go there on one specific day. That makes no sense. People think that's what caused the financial loss, but you know what actually caused it? What caused it was regular people deciding to not spend that much money because they're afraid about the economy. Okay, that's what caused the actual dip right there. That's what caused it. It wasn't because of a protest. It was because of economical factors. Plain and simple. So, yeah, you could do all the protesting and whatnot outside of Target. It won't make a difference at all. Now, this is a throwback clip from the George Floyd time, and this is the mayor of Minnesota, Jacob Frey, kneeling before George Floyd's casket. This was the most pathetic thing I've seen in many years. This was almost as bad as Macron getting mushed. Let's watch.
You don't have to worry.
Bro, really?
Joy comes in the morning. Troubles, they don't last always.
Bro, crying with a mask on? Like, this was peak lunacy. 2020 time? Oh my goodness. You at a funeral with a mask on. You're kneeling at the casket crying. Bro. And you know what's crazy about this is that there's some purplish lighting, and it casts a little bit of that on his hair. It gives him a purple hairdo. Although that's not his color, it might as well be for this instance. Look, listen, if you didn't know George Floyd, you didn't know anything about this guy until this incident happened, you're not going to do all that. You're not going to do all that. And I mean, really, I'd have been to many funerals. I had never done that before. I ain't never done that. Hey, dad, granddad, all of them. If I was to do that in front of them, they would have got up out of the casket and said, boy, get up. Boy, get up. That's what they would have said.
Jesus, who will wipe your tears away.
Again, that was 2020. That's the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey. Oh my goodness. Wow. Now let's go back to reality. Okay. Let's go back to reality. Here's an interview 5 years later. And I think this guy is speaking to George Floyd's aunt. Let's watch this. Okay. This is reality. All of that was just, people wanting to be performative, kneeling, crying for no reason. Let's get down to the actual truth of what's happening on the ground, shall we? 5 years later.
Let me tell you something. When they gave away the $50,000 that your family was handing out to the businesses to help them, you know how many people were up there that wasn't even from this area? There was 72 people up there trying to take that money from all the businesses. We didn't get a dime. None of us got a damn dime of that money to help us. Did you know?
Now, to be clear, this man on the left is a Minneapolis business owner, and he's speaking to George Floyd's aunt. Okay?
Oh my God. Y'all didn't even know that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
They wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know that. They only
We know that because I was there when it happened. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I was in the room when they all showed up, all these white folks that we'd never even seen over here, asking for the money that your family was putting down for these businesses. They took that money from us. We never got a dime. We never got help.
So I'm just trying to figure out who was really the beneficiary of all the chaos that happened in Minneapolis. There's money floating around. BLM, I mean, we know what happened with BLM. They sparked off after this. They got a big dose of money after this. Okay, that's kind of what made them. And what did they do with it? Mansions, a whole real estate portfolio. A whole real estate portfolio off of money raised off a dead black man because he was high on drugs. Who benefited from all the rioting and protests and things of this nature? So, and I knew right when it was happening that was going to be what happened. You're going to get outside people, white, black, whatever, who get that money. They're going to be organized. They're going to have their whole apparatus set up. They're going to fundraise. They're going to do all of that. And the people of the community suffer. Business owners, you get your whole neighborhood destroyed, including infrastructure. People are afraid to go out there because crime has increased. Same thing in Free Out of Washington with Chaz Chop. Same thing happened. It was a mess. And you know what? Let me say something else. Atlanta, Georgia had some of this under Keisha Lance Bottoms, who allowed a whole intersection to be taken over. The whole place out there in Atlanta, one whole intersection was taken over. And that's how the 8-year-old girl was killed. What was that? Sequoia Turner killed out there, 8 years old. And now she wants to become the governor of Georgia. How you going to do that, Keisha? You couldn't even run Atlanta. How you going to run the whole state of Georgia? Ain't no way. Listen, if y'all vote for Keisha Lance Bottoms in Georgia to be the governor, you got to be smoking the best crack in the world. Hey, you know what? Whatever kind of crack you got, keep that away from the streets because it'll dominate. Everybody going to be a zombie. Back to 1988 with the crack. If it's that good as you smoking, to think something like that would make sense. Anyway, speaking about professional crack smokers, we got Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes. Now, he's giving a commencement speech. Where is this? I believe at Wake Forest. All right. Let's check it out.
But in this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack. And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak in America. Power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes.
You know what? That's a very good point, Mr. Pelley. You mean like Abrego Garcia, the MS-13 gang member, the wife beater, the human smuggler? Criminals become heroes. That's right. You're right about that. I don't think you want to use him for an example. You're probably thinking about President Trump. I get it. But what you're saying fits for Kim Abrego Garcia. And I think the majority of Americans feel the same way, which is why y'all keep doubling down on that. It's not really going to work out too well for you.
And heroes, criminals. Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion is a dirty word.
All right, that's enough from Scott Pelley right there. So just typical, typical regular political stuff at a commencement speech. The same old thing that he would do on CBS, but on CBS, it's a little bit less obvious on CBS. He kind of does it on the low. He's a little bit sticky with it on CBS. That's kind of how that is. And if you didn't know, that is Scott Pelley from CBS 60 Minutes. Okay, now let's get to what Trump has done very well. They're talking about, oh, well, Trump's a villain. You made him a hero. To many, Trump is a hero, including some hostages of Hamas. All right, let's watch this. All right, Israeli hostages. So they were taken captive by Hamas, and while they were captive, they are hearing what the Hamas guys are saying. So check it out.
Very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted
Who?
The terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president, yeah, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me. Very scared of him.
Well, there you go. So my man right here, again, an Israeli hostage, he says he was treated better when Trump came in because they were afraid of him. Okay, so there you go. They wanted Kamala. If Kamala would have succeeded, then they would have continued to treat him like garbage, spitting on him, not giving them food, this, that, and the third. So the Trump effect is 100% real. So, hey, I'm glad we got him. I'm glad we got him. Can you imagine? I know that it's hard to do it. I know that, like, I don't want to go to the dark place in my mind thinking about what would happen if Kamala was to be the president. But can you? Man, we would be in a much darker place if she became the president. All right. Now, also, you got Gazans thanking Trump because they're able to get aid for the first time in a long time without having to pay for it.
Thank you, America! Are you really?
So thank you, America. Thank you, Trump. So you got the Gazans, just the regular people out there saying, thank you, Trump. Now we're able to get this aid. You got the Israeli hostages saying, thank you, Trump, because of you, Hamas was able to treat us better, more food, not spitting on us, and all of that good stuff. And of course, now he's out. So, I mean, who is not succeeding? Who's not succeeding? The only ones who are not going to succeed will be the terrorists, which is the way that it should be. Normies, non-criminals, okay. Help them if we can. Criminals, terrorists, gang members, I have no sympathy. I don't care about any kind of, what it say? Due process, slow process, old process, new process. It don't matter. Get them up out of here. Anyway, this is a little bit interesting. So we have word that Pocahontas, a.k.a. Elizabeth Warren, had the auto pen. You know, the whole thing about Joe Biden's auto pen, they're saying that Pocahontas had the auto pen. Let's watch.
The financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to encourage it. What the Biden administration was doing, and let's face it, it wasn't Biden. Elizabeth Warren controlled the auto pen during that administration. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred of the crypto community. She wants to drive this community offshore. She doesn't want it happening in the United States. That's the wrong policy for the United States. We want all the innovation happening here. This is a financial system of the future. It's cheaper. It's more efficient. We want it happening here, Jesse, and I think people are thrilled that President Trump is making that possible. This is the financial system of the...
There you go. So I think it was Pocahontas who had the auto pen. You think it was her that was making the decisions? Clearly, it wasn't Biden. We already know that it wasn't him, because this guy, I mean, he was out of it. Weekend at Bernie's at best. It was a mess. So I think it probably was her. Now, Democrats, what are y'all going to do in the future? Personally, I'm not really rooting for the Democrats to succeed on a national level, on a federal level, or at all, really. I'm not really rooting for them to succeed because all of what has happened to them, all of their losses, it's their own fault. You pretty much hate regular Americans, and you have allowed things to happen that has set Americans back. Okay, you allow jobs to go away, and you're not trying to get them back. You allow drugs to just be all over the place. First with Big Pharma, you dumped Big Pharma on us, in Appalachia especially. You did it on purpose. And then you let the fentanyl from Southern Border come in, furthering poisoning us. So no jobs, on drugs, what are we to do? Now you want to spend $20 million, which is nothing. You want to spend $20 million to try and connect to people on the internet, to try and get into podcasts and short form video, things of this nature. Do y'all think they'll succeed with the money expenditure, $20 million? Let's watch some of this.
Yeah.
And they're trying to study the younger people and understand their syntax, things of this nature. One more thing I want to say before we continue. When you got guys that's on TV, especially influencers, but guys on TV looking 300 pounds like this, whatever you're saying, I'm not really paying no mind.
Yeah, good questions. One, let me save the folks from the Times and all the other great, print outlets some time. If you dig in on what Democrats are researching right now, you're going to find a lot of silly stuff. You're going to find people asking a lot of questions, people asking about syntax and do I drop the G from this word and this and that, and it's going to be a lot of that. So let me just warn everybody, that process is going to be very obnoxious for this 40-something. I would also say, we're really talking about young men, right? Young men who Democrats have not figured out a consistent pitch for how to get in front of. And I think it starts with authenticity. Yeah, good questions.
Yeah, okay, so there's more to that, but you got to be authentic, and you have to give them things. Talking about young men, you got to give them things they can use now. Give them information that they can utilize now, and be straightforward. The authenticity also comes with not being a liar. But like I said, hold on, like I said, bro, okay, you 300 pounds in that chair at least. You probably had about a good 350 in that chair. Hold on. And I don't want nobody to say that I'm being anything, because you're talking about young men. Okay, if I'm looking at you, bro, and you in your 40s, you ain't that much older than me, probably my age, for real. And I'm physically fit, athletic, and you looking like that. And I'm trying to talk to a young man, and so are you. Who will get their attention more, me or you? Let's just be real. Now, some are going to say that I'm offensive by saying that. Some are going to call me offensive, but that's just how men think. If you're offended, it's okay, but it's the reality. Now look, and you know why I say that's the case, aside from the obvious. This video right here is what they put out. And remember this, remember how widely it was criticized, due in part to the guys in the commercial. You got LGBT guys that's like 1,000 pounds. People don't aspire to be like that. It reminds me of the statue. Okay, you got a 12-foot tall black lady with her fast food worker outfit on. Why is that a thing you want to put on the statue? If you're going to show me a statue, if you're going to put a guy on TV, if you're going to put an actor in the movie, I want to see an idealized version of what we could be, rather than just kind of a commoner. You don't want to see that. That's not aspirational. But let's watch.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man. And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Meat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Hey, the pose is crazy. I ain't gonna play the whole thing, but the pose is crazy. Somebody said it in the chat. Yo, the pose, like, you could tell that they told him to pose like that. Like, this is totally inauthentic. And that go back to what my man was saying. You know, Big Man, he was like, it's got to be authentic. This right here, clearly Hollywood actors, and they're not necessarily the best actors. And maybe they are good actors in a Broadway play or something like this, but you need better casting if you're going to have actors in this commercial for it to be believable, for me to be convinced. Like that whole Tampon Tim commercial, the same thing, cringe, weird, not relatable. So if they're going to fix it, they got to start with looking at what they put out there and taking criticism, even if they are offended, and fixing it. But look, if they don't want to fix it, it's fine. I ain't tripping. If they don't want to fix it, don't even worry about it. Now look, also they have certain guys in leadership roles that maybe shouldn't be there. David Hogg. Y'all know David Hogg. What was he, part of Sandy Hook? Don't let me say the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm going to say exactly what happened here. Sandy Hook. Well, let me just look up David Hogg. I know he was in the school shooting, but I'm not quite sure what the Parkland High School. So he was in the Parkland. He was a Parkland High School shooting survivor. And he's been really outspoken on the interwebs, all on social media. And they made him the DNC vice chair. Thank you to the Whites man for gifting 10 ABL memberships. I appreciate you for that. But they got David Hogg on a Project Veritas. Well, pardon me, not Project Veritas. It is Project Veritas. I almost said O'Keefe Media Group. Project Veritas got him on an undercover camera. Now look, David Hogg, into anybody out there, if you're going to say anything in public, assume you're being recorded. Assume somebody is watching. Assume you're being recorded, because we've seen too many of these videos. You got guys that go on the date, probably spill their guts, and then they get put on the internet and they're surprised that it happened. But we've seen countless guys do the exact same thing. So look, they got David Hogg. Check it out.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah. Off the record, of course.
Foundational question for me is, like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden, well, the president of the United States?
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue is like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like, had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like, I would avoid him. Like, he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Bernal.
And the guy's name is Anthony Bernal, senior advisor to Dr. Jill Biden. Right there. It's right there on their website. I mean, it's not even like they're trying to hide it.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so, like, I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public.
Now, the guy who's talking is Detarian Jones, and he is a former White House office digital strategy. And you can see Detarian. You already know what's going on. He black. I don't know what this is. I don't know if they on the date. If you got two colleagues just hanging out, I don't know what's going on. But I'm giving you what I have.
But would know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power. And I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
All right, so they got him. There's more, but they got David Hogg. And, oh, hold on. There go the guy right there. If you can see him in the corner. Let me see if I can show him. That's him right there. Like I say, I don't know if they're just hanging out, if they're just buddies, colleagues, whatever. Or maybe he's into black guys. I don't know what's going on. Is David Hogg gay? I would assume that he is. Because most of the guys in D.C. are gay, like the staffers and whatnot. But I'm not going to say that for certain because I don't know. Do y'all know if he's gay or not? Y'all let me know in the comments. And the reason why I ask that is because a lot of these guys is how they get jammed up. Because they're so thirsty for men's, they go out there, get themselves caught up with Project Veritas and O'Keefe Media Group and things of this nature. I think even Steven Crowder is getting guys jammed up with his undercover people. I mean, they just kind of silly at a certain point. Okay, Glocktavius. Shout out to Glocktavius. Now, speaking about Glocktavius, these guys are the opposite of Glocktavius. They're doing a sit-in in Austin, Texas at the Capitol. Now, this kind of individual right here is what you're going to get from in Austin, Texas, which is kind of like California Junior, California Light, California, California East.
I am on day 24 of my sit-in at the Austin, Texas Capitol. I am sitting until Donald Trump is impeached, convicted, and removed. Today we had quite an event here in the Capitol Rotunda from 5 to 7 p.m. We had a reading On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. About maybe 36 people came through, some of them with their kids. Overall, we had an amazing discussion that really added a lot of light and context to the situation we're going through right now, and reaffirmed to us that, no, we're not crazy. It really is the situation that's exceptional. So, Sammy, why don't you tell me a little bit about how it went?
I think it went super amazingly, because...
That voice, man, hey, did y'all expect that voice? Be honest. Did y'all expect that voice? I think at this point, you got to expect that. You already know Sammy, that's like some kind of gender neutral name. Okay, this dude's voice is off the hook. Why don't they ever, back in my day, a self-respecting transformer would at least change their voice box. You got guys looking like Pamela Anderson, but sound like Tommy Lee in the voice. What's up with that? Anyway.
We had a bunch of people show up. They shared their perspectives on the ideas that we discussed and everything. And, some of their things I hadn't even thought of or even known. So for them to be able to bring it up and, I guess, inform me and everything. And then also being able to share, my own experiences and everything with everyone.
All right, that's enough of that. But they're sitting in for 24 days. Now, here's my question. Are they going home? Are they showering? Do they just go there for a certain period of time and then go back to the house? How does that really work for a 24-day sit-in in Austin, Texas? I would presume, since it's Austin and you got a lot of the California crackhead homeless culture out there, they pretty much just crashing, nowhere to live at, just being homeless, hippies, new hippies. Okay, but yeah, shout out to them out there in Texas. Hey, hopefully you guys hold on to Texas. Do not let them take over. Keep that to be a red state. Let it be a stronghold. Do not let the California weirdos take you. Now, speaking about California weirdos, is Jake Tapper from California? If Jake Tapper is not Californian, might as well be. Anyway, here he is realizing just how racist liberals can be. Let's watch.
I went on a left-leaning podcast that shall remain nameless, and we were talking about my kids because I think they were both people without kids. And they asked me about my son, and I said he was, he's a football player and he wants to be a policeman. And their joke was about my 15-year-old son. Oh, how does he feel about minorities? Like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh. And then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, this is why you fuckers are losing elections.
100%.
Like my football playing son, who has no political views. He's 15. He thinks about World War II and gaming and playing linebacker. That's his world. You're deciding he's a racist because he wants to be a cop. And why does he want to be a cop? He wants to be a cop because he wants to help people, and he thinks that's the best way he can help people. And that's how the Democratic Party talks to men, not just white men, but men. And I get the idea that they thought Tim Walz could what's the term he used, code switch or something? He thought that he could translate the Democratic Party values because he hunts and fishes and owns a gun and was in the army and drinks a beer. I mean, at least there was an attempt, but I find it just insane.
Okay, now that was Jake Tapper, of course. That was Jake Tapper. So we all know who Jake Tapper is. So this is partly his fault because he'd be on CNN saying the exact same thing, repeating the same talking points. But see, now what you put out there, Jake Tapper, what you put into the atmosphere, what you put into the universe is coming back on you. And you don't like it when you actually hear it. You're putting out certain things, people are consuming it, and they get back to you, and you like, is that how I sound? Yes, that's how you sound. So it's not just them on the podcast. Don't pass buck to them. You, Jake Tapper, are also responsible, especially since you knew with everybody else about Joe Biden's decline. So you want to get on TV and lie. You want to get on TV and promote racism, promote all this kind of stuff you want to promote on the Democratic side of the aisle. LGBT, you want to promote all that stuff, and then when all of what you promoted comes back to you, you're appalled. You're appalled. Well, hey, it's your fault, at least partly. Now, this person, I'm reading it. Hold on. Okay. I've not watched this yet, and with the way things are nowadays, I don't know what's going on. So the caption says, Democrat activist Olivia Juliana is now advising Democrats how to win over young men, says conservative men are pro-choice, pro-gay marriage, and pro-BLM. How do y'all think about that? Like, what do y'all think that's true? Is it false? Also, is this Olivia? Is that Olivia? You don't quite appear to be an Olivia. I would say your name is Dennis, Eli, I don't know, Hunter, something like this. I don't know. Let's watch.
Reason why Republican messaging resonates with men is because men want bad things, right? It's like men want to have sex and like own women, right? Like they want to dominate everybody. And Republicans say, you get to do that. And then Democrats can't say that. So we just lost men. It's over, right? Like, what are you talking about? Like a lot of.
Okay, that's not Olivia. There's another person named Olivia. That's not her. Him, them, them.
Sometimes it will be men that are liberals who will like agree with that shit. I'm like, dude, what are you like? What is going on? Like, there's a lot of men that don't think that way, obviously, and it's just such a negative view to take on like half of the human race.
There's Olivia. There we go. All right, now we're on the same page.
Well, I also think it's just so abundantly clear that the people who say these things don't actually spend time talking to young men. You know this because we know each other in real life, but I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and I spend a lot of time with
young men.
I love young men. I love frat guys, and in that I've realized like even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who support Black Lives Matter. And so I feel like people just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
So how you feel about that? Is she telling the truth? Not telling the truth? That the young guys on college campuses, they with all the BLM, they with all of that. Now, here's the thing about it, though. Let's say she's telling the truth. Now, you got to ask yourself, where are you going? You going to college campuses. And what state are you in? If you go into a California college campus, some of the Republicans out there might be a lot more liberal than if you don't go to a college campus and you go to, I don't know, oil field, you go to a truck stop, you go to more blue collar places and blue collar professions and blue collar people, it may not be the same way. So there goes a divide. Even if you identify as conservative, you may not vote that way. And that may be the same way dealing with the general election, because a lot of people are going to vote differently than what you would think anyway, based upon that's swing voters. That's kind of how they do. So it's not always so cut and dry. Having said that, I think you still got a long ways to go to be able to connect to the young men. I think a lot of them are starting to go more conservative. The BLM, all that kind of stuff, they're not with it. They are not with it. All right. Now, this is the kind of thing that young conservative men are not with. You know, she mentioned some things that were kind of basic, but she didn't talk about stuff like the Colorado bill, talking about gender and things of this nature. Okay. I don't think most men, whether they be on the left or the right, are with this.
The state of Colorado, I think, believes that they are sort of operating a Manchurian candidate experiment in the state of Colorado because they can't seem to get the balance between free speech and religious liberty versus anti-discrimination law twice. So they've just enacted a new law, and Governor Polis signed it going into the weekend. HB 1312 is actually a modification of, it's an amendment to the pre-existing Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, or CADA. Now, CADA notably has made 2 trips to the Supreme Court already. One in the Masterpiece Cake Shop series of cases with Jack Phillips, and one in last year's 303 Creative versus Alenis case, which was Lori Smith, the Christian website designer. So both times, both were victors at the Supreme Court over the Colorado Human Rights Commission, but Colorado can't seem to get the message. So what this amendment does is it actually requires any individual in a public accommodation space to use mandatory preferred pronouns and selected names of individuals based on gender identity, even if those individuals disagree with the communication of a message that is antithetical to what they believe. It's the first time I have seen a state enact a law that is so patently unconstitutional that tries to concretize into the state canon a requirement to violate the First Amendment, because not every Coloradan is going to agree with the use of preferred pronouns or gender identity related names.
Exactly. How are you going to make me say something I don't want to say? That's a clear violation of the First Amendment, because the First Amendment, freedom of speech, we all know what it means, or the majority of us do. Freedom of speech means the government cannot punish you, cannot lock you up for your unpopular opinion, for not saying certain things, for saying certain things. The only way you're able to get jammed up by any kind of authority over something that you say is like a terrorist threat, something like that. But if you call a man ma'am, you can't get locked up for that. The person might get offended and they might want to do something to you, but you can't get locked up for that. That's just not how that works. So yeah, the law, completely ridiculous, unconstitutional, but that right there is what happens when you let the California coalition take over. When the Californians come in and they're able to kind of get things rocking, that's what they do. They deteriorate you law by law, action by action, piece by piece, bit by bit. They deteriorate you, and you become California. You become what's happening right now, Austin, Texas. You become what's happening right now, other parts of Colorado. Okay, that's how that works. Which is why there's such a big exodus away from California. Now, can I show something right quick? I'm going to show this piece here. I want to show this. Talking about freedom of speech. Now, this kind of goes back to the N-word and stuff like this. People say, oh, well, you should be able to say it. You got freedom of speech. Nobody's saying you can't say whatever you want to say. But see, there can be consequences for your actions. Now, these consequences may not be legal, but what are you going to do beforehand to prevent something from happening to you? If you use certain words, if you antagonize people, if you wear certain kind of clothing, people are not going to like it, and someone might want to crash out on you. They're not right, but you could have prevented it by not doing what you did. The only way for the government to prevent that would be to curtail your freedom of speech and tell you can't say it or do it from the beginning. Now, in this case, you got an old guy right here who has on a Nazi shirt, okay? And he's at a concert, outdoor concert, and the people around him don't like it. Now, maybe back in the day, he could have done this in the 70s. He could have done something like that and it wouldn't have been a thing. But 2025, you go out there with that on, they're not going to like it. So watch. Now, look, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to be as old as he is, get pushed on the ground, because, again, this ain't the 70s, bro. You're like 60 years old. You're probably in your 50s, and you get pushed on the ground. Look, I'm not trying to break my hip. I'm not trying to get a brain hemorrhage. I ain't trying to do none of that. So I'm not going to come to a place wearing provocative clothing like that because I know I'm not going to really be safe. What can the police do to prevent it? Nothing. All they can do is lock somebody up after they do something to you, but you still got your broken hip and the brain hemorrhage. And when you're in the hospital trying to recover, you got to ask yourself, was it worth it to wear that provocative t-shirt in this crowd of people? And people are saying, why are they all fat? Everybody fat in 2025. This is what I'm talking about. And I said that earlier with the guy that was on TV, the black dude. It's like, yo, you 350 pounds sitting in the chair. You're 350 just sitting in the chair. People just eat all day long. McDonald's, Mountain Dew, Starbucks, guzzling all day long. And you get to be looking like this when you're 25 years old. See, that's not going to get it done. But yeah, you have freedom of speech, but what can the government do if you use your freedom of speech and then someone doesn't like it? What are you going to do? I mean, I've used my freedom of speech and got punished for it. Y'all know, look, I done got swatted. I done had friends, family, money, relationships, everything suffer as a result of my free speech. But I don't complain about it because that's part of it. That's part of freedom. Part of freedom is everybody has a freedom, not just you. Not just you. Okay. What does this shirt say? I can't see what the words say, but that's a Nazi symbol. Those bolts on it, that's a Nazi symbol. So I don't know what the words say, but let me show you a clear picture of it if I can. Okay, that's clear as it's going to get. You see that right there? That's a Nazi symbol. Those thunderbolts, that's like what, SS, right? So that right there is definitely a provocation. It's just like wearing a swastika. Same thing. People don't like it. And it might do something to you. Not saying it's okay. But again, you get pushed on the ground, you done broke your hip, you got a brain hemorrhage, you in the hospital for 10 months, you're being taught how to walk and talk again. And when you're going through all of that, your physical therapy, and you're like, oh, so it's take you a lot longer to get to it. When you're going through all of that, you got to ask yourself, was it worth it? SS boats, exactly. And again, if he was in the 70s, it probably wouldn't be a big deal because at rock concerts, grunge or whatever, it was all right to wear stuff like that because that's kind of what they did. The rebel, the hippie, that was a culture that existed back then at concerts like that. But it's 2025 and people are not with that anymore. Okay, in 1970, everybody wasn't walking around 300 pounds, but now they are. Things change. Is that Vegas? I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah. Of course it's wrong, Kat, but you got my point. You got my point. Now, here's another one. This is at Seattle, Washington. This is in Seattle with a mother and their toddler as she was trying to go to a Christian event. Now, here's my question. Would you brave this crowd in Seattle to go to a Christian event with your baby? Let's watch some of this. So look, here's my question. Would y'all go in the crowd with your baby to a Christian event knowing that you got protesters and all kind of extra stuff going on? Now, if it's me by myself and I want to go there, okay. If I'm trying to fight some of these people because they want to do something to me, then hey, I'm taking the risk. But a baby, a goo goo gaga, that's not very smart because all it takes is one idiot in this crowd of people high on drugs, whatever they like to do in these kind of crowds, to try to attack you, do something to the baby, and now we got a big problem. So I'm not quite sure that I would take the bambino, not the baby, exactly, not the baby. No. You want to go there as an adult by yourself? Okay, you're taking your own risk. But a baby, see, your job is to protect that baby at all costs. You're not going to put the baby in a bad situation like that. Okay? Free speech and no free speech, it's dangerous. So we got to be careful with the things that we do rather than just saying, you know what, I'm going to do it because I can. That's not a very smart policy to have, in my humble opinion. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Exactly, street cleaner. Don't bring a baby to a street rally. Yeah, don't bring your kids to a rally, especially like the little, like a baby, like a infant, still goo goo gaga in the swaddle diapers. That's just excessive. All right, so check it out.
What's better?
What's better? Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let him ask the question.
What's better, Gay Pride or Memorial Day?
That's like asking me which of my children I'm willing to sell into slavery. Memorial Day, think of what they gave up for us. That's why I support law enforcement. We cannot have a society without law enforcement. And for them to be defunded was some kind of a horrible sin.
What's better, Gay Pride or Memorial Day?
So what do y'all think? Gay Pride or Memorial Day? Obviously Memorial Day. That's going to be what I go with. It's not really a discussion. But you'd be surprised. Some are going to say, Gay Pride because they hate America. They hate veterans. You'd be surprised. But I'm glad that some people see the light. Now, this is the Episcopal Church or an Episcopal Church. I'm not sure where this is. I'm not sure who these individuals are. But we got a whole lot going on. Okay, first of all, what's up with this outfit? Is that what they wear at the Episcopal Church? My man has on the white robe with an LGBT, I guess, sash, if it's called that. And he has on like Birkenstock. Is that Birkenstock sandals? The old school Jesus sandals? What are we doing? Let's watch.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course we'll do your gay wedding.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course women can be priests.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course I offer free walk-in therapy all day.
We're Episcopal priests. Of course we know your pronouns.
I'm an Episcopal priest.
Okay, there's so much there. First of all, my man's outfit right here, is that what they normally wear? If that's the normal attire, I get it. But I feel like that's not necessarily normal. All right, and then, hold on. A female priest? I don't really understand. I don't get that. Is there not enough men to become priests? Is there a shortage of men who want to become priests? Female priests, I would never listen to you at all. It's just not going to happen. And my man right here talking about walk-in therapy. I'm not going in your office, bro. I'm not going in your office at all. You probably got camera up under the desk looking at my situation. I'm good, bro. Don't even worry about it. I'm not going to your office. And this is the kind of thing that repels young men, especially away from the church. It repels them. If you see something like that, like if I was looking for a church home, I would not want to see this man in the front talking about come in my office. No, thank you. And my man right here with the LGBT. As soon as I see that right there, off rip, I'm good. Don't worry about it. And how is this even allowed within the church system? Isn't there some kind of parent organization? Like I know with many churches, they got a parent organization. And if you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're messing up as a church, you get punished in a certain kind of way. They don't allow that kind of thing to go on because some of these churches have funding from a national branch. And if you are doing the wrong thing, you don't get that national branch funding. So it gets pretty deep. They're not always just out there by themselves on an island. They're often part of a collective. And when they don't do right, they get punished by the collective. Like the Catholics, you got the Vatican and the Pope and whatnot. It's kind of like that among other Christian denominations. Okay. So yeah, it's a lot going on, man. I don't know. Like I said, back in my day, it'd be an old man, men's warehouse suit at best. Big suit. Okay. With the black shoes. He might got 2 suits at best in his closet. And he gonna preach his hind parts clean, smooth off. And you're going to get a good word. Going in there, what they going to tell me? What are they going to tell me? I'm going to sit there like, pronouns, all of that? Nah, don't even worry about it. So this person, I guess, is fleeing the United States to Germany because she's a transformer now. And you know what? I actually applaud this move. If you want to be a transformer and go to Germany, go ahead, knock yourself out. I think that's a great move for you to make. But let's watch.
I'm a trans American living in Germany. Here are 3 things that I can do here that I can't in the US.
If I lose my German ID, I can get a new one with the correct gender marker. But if I lose my US passport, the replacement would have the wrong gender because the State Department is changing trans people's documents to match what's on their original birth certificate.
Well, that's not the wrong gender. If on a passport, your birth gender is on there, it's not the wrong gender. You think it's the wrong gender, but you, sir, ma'am, Sam, whatever you got going on, you are just delusional.
Germany, I can pick up my hormones with my public health insurance card. But in some parts of the US, Medicaid wouldn't cover it, so I wouldn't be able to. That said, getting care in Germany isn't always easy. Wait times can be long, and insurance doesn't always cover everything. If I was a teacher in Florida or Utah instead of Berlin, I would actually be committing a crime to use the bathroom.
Germany doesn't have bathroom bans, so no one is policing where I can pee.
That doesn't mean transphobia doesn't still exist here.
I'm a trans American.
All right, so there we go. So the transformer talking about all of what he, she, they, them, etc. can do over there that they can't do over here. I say, look, if you happy, hold on. If you're happy over there, then stay over there. Then it's, hey, the problem is solved. You don't got to worry about American transphobia. You don't got to worry about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, ABL. You don't got to worry about nothing. Go over there and live your best life. Okay? Eat all the bratwurst and whatnot that your stomach can handle. Okay? Have a good old time up there in Germany. Hey, and to the Germans, if you hear, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's not our fault. It's your laws over there. Y'all got to be a little teeny bit more strict with the laws. So I'm sorry you have that individual over there, but it's not our fault. All right.
Are you?
Now, what is a woman? We're going to see some of this. This is going to be on the Whatever podcast. Their podcast sucks. I ain't going to hold you. Their podcast sucks real bad. But I want to play this and then play Charlie at a university saying, hosting the similar argument about what is a woman.
You telling me that you honestly believe that wearing a kilt is similar to becoming trans?
Well, what I'm saying is
that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that if it's aesthetics that we're looking at, and that's what you claim gender actually is an aesthetic presentation towards a thing.
I didn't say transgenderism ideology is that thing. I said the way that I define gender is performance. These are not the same thing.
So I guess the question, what is a woman? And the individual says, well, I defined gender based on performance. So if you look and behave like a woman, then I guess you're a woman. Now, I know a lot of women that would be offended by that because I don't care how much a man tries to look like a woman or behave like a woman. They're never going to have a cycle, and y'all be going through it on a cycle. The cycle turns y'all every which way but loose. Y'all be going through some stuff during a cycle. So again, no matter what a man does on the outside, he cannot be a woman, and he will never know what y'all go through. But I digress.
Performance is what? Isn't that the aesthetic? How do you know that the way that these are presented in the West, if you were put in a different environment, in a different country?
Will they become fafafini like the Samoans? Yeah, that's a valid question, but it's not similar to a kilt. And I don't think that these things are analogous in any way. And we can't pretend like they are. The actual thing about fafafine shows, probably the way that they express societally is pretty open up to society. But the fafafine are a third gender.
Just that alone. Just that statement that the environment's going to greatly impact whether or not you even present with the opposition of gender.
That's not what I've said.
They're making this be overly complicated for no reason. For no reason. It's very simple. Listen, whatever a man does to make himself feel like a woman, behave as a woman, it doesn't matter because he can't actually become that, number one. And number two, he cannot actually have a true female experience. It's impossible. And then some are going to say, what about those who had this done, that done, all this and that? Man, it don't make a difference. It just can't. They can't. This is an overly intellectual conversation, which ultimately will yield nothing. And there's not really any kind of cogent points being made. Everybody want to just trying to flex their ability to remember certain things. Fafafine, who cares about that? Who is that even really? Why does it matter to the conversation? That's why their podcast sucks. Whatever podcast. And this dude right here is like the alpha male. Hold on. This guy right here is the alpha male. You're looking like a whole guidance counselor. You're looking like Matt Walsh's twin brother. I'm not convinced. Now let's go to Charlie Kirk on a college campus saying the same thing. What is a woman? All right, what is a woman on college campus? And by the way, I think Charlie is a rock star on college campuses. The way that the crowd reacts to him, the way that they anticipate him coming, even those on the left, he's a rock star on college campuses. However, he could have better arguments, in my humble opinion, sometimes, but he's still a rock star on the campus.
A woman. A woman, you know it when you see it, you know? It's like, if I look, she looks like a woman, she looks like a woman, she looks like a woman, she looks like a woman. It's the way you express yourself, so.
Hey, that right there is what, I ain't going to call him a certain name, but I'll put it to you this way, without saying a certain name. If he was to go to Thailand or something like that, he had the same type of mentality. So ladyboy come up to him, and a ladyboy will look just like a woman. He gonna say, hey man, look, close enough, right? That's gonna be the mentality. So now you're just gay. See how that works? Anyway, I'm getting triggered.
All these, it's the way you express yourself.
So if you basically, womanhood is a costume.
I'm not saying that, no.
No, it is. Yeah, if you're able to wear the right stuff and just assume the identity, you can appropriate womanhood. Is that correct?
No.
So this is where you are playing into this narrative that gender exists. We reject that paradigm completely because gender has led us to this place that your own personal self-expression matters to your core identity. And again, that means nothing. Infinite personalities, no genders, two sexes. And we must live in reality, not in the delusions of the heads of people that want us to accommodate their fantasy.
Exactly. And the whole thing about gender versus sex is the dumbest thing in the world. Well, I identify as woman because gender is a construct. Shut up. Please shut up. Just shut your mouth completely. Don't talk no more. Hey, zip it and throw it away. Zip your lip and throw away the key. Male, female, boy, girl. That's it. However you feel on the inside is your business. You might feel like an alligator, Sailor Moon, 115 peaches in the box from a food truck. It doesn't matter however you feel. At the end of the day, boy, girl, male, female. That's it. That's it. Make it simple. Don't try to conflate your feelings on the inside with biology. Don't do that. If we could just have that be a thing, then it's fine. Bro, you want to put on the wedding dress like Dennis Rodman and parade around that way? All right, that's fine. But look, I'm still seeing taco meat in your chest. I'm still seeing Adam's apple. I'm still seeing big bricklayer, truck driver, jackhammer operating, forklift driving hands. I'm still seeing that on your body. So at the end of the day, you're still a man. Wedding dress or no wedding dress. But check it out. I got a question for you guys. If you're on a plane and this happens to you, what are you going to do? Okay. Now, for you guys who can't see it, what you have right here is a guy on a plane chilling, minding his business. The caption says, imagine a 12-hour flight like this. A little boy is continuously walking up and down the aisle, like touching them, messing with them and stuff like that. That's not his child or anything like that. So what do you do in this situation?
Imagine being stuck on a 12-hour flight like this. Imagine being stuck.
Okay, so what do y'all think? Just kind of let him rock. He's a little boy. It's all good. Now, listen, for me, I'll give you one little pass. You're a little boy. That's okay. Now, if you keep on messing with me now, I'm going to talk to your parents. Where's your mom and dad? I'm going to say that right away. Where's your mom and dad? I'm going to talk to the parents like, hey, get your boy under control now. We gonna talk to the parents. I give you one little chance because you're a little boy, whatever. You just chilling. Okay. Now, all right, mom and dad, get him under control. Because you're not going to just be up here knocking my headphones off and all this kind of extra stuff on me. What do y'all think? Just let him rock. He's a little kid, not really a problem. Or you talk to the parents. Or are you going to say something to the little boy? I ain't going to scare the little boy and say something to him, but I will talk to the parents for sure. Yeah, exactly. Where's the parents? That's my question. Where's the parents at? Okay, that should be who's controlling the situation. You can't just have your kids roaming around, knocking stuff off of people's heads and plucking them in the ear. Nah, we're not doing that. Yeah, my brutal story says I'm going to give the parents a reality check 100%. 100% all day long. All right, now we got some more here.
So much.
Okay, we got some people saying a few things. I forget what this one was.
So I'm walking into the grocery store and a gentleman's walking out with a cart full of stuff to the brim and not bagged. And I was like, I'm minding my own fucking business. And as I'm walking in, this guy yells, ma'am, did you see that man? The one with the da-da-da? Did you see him? And I was like, no.
So the context is somebody was stealing and then they're asking her, hey, you saw the guy? Did you see him?
And then a lady starts yelling at me, ma'am, did you see which way he went? I was like, Because I'm a lot of things, but a snitch is not one of them. And on top of it, people can't fucking afford groceries right now. So if that person needed to take groceries because they needed to eat, absolutely not. I'm not.
So this is the AOC, the people that have no idea about reality. No idea at all. Listen, you don't have to steal food in America. There is no reason to steal food in America. If you're really desperate, you could do some dumpster diving and find full course meals. I'm talking about everything you want right in the dumpster. Okay, now if you don't want to go to that extreme, dumpster diving, you got food banks, churches, all of that. All of that. Or how about this? Get a job. Get a job at a food place. You'll be able to eat. I bet you will. Hey, Old Country Buffet, I used to eat there every day. Ain't pay no money. Ain't pay no money. What are they going to do? Like, end of the night, especially, look, end of the night, Old Country Buffet, what they're going to do is throw all that food away. I remember taking stuff home. They say you can't do it, but whatever. They're going to throw it away anyway. So, it's going to go in the garbage or it's going to go in my pocket. So that's how I felt. And again, if you're real hungry, you can do it. Stealing from a store? Nah, that's just BS. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. And being a snitch, see, listen, people kind of get the whole thing messed up. You're not a snitch if you say that somebody did something. Like you see somebody stole something, they ran away, and you say they went that way. That's not a snitch. You're just a regular civilian. That's not snitching. So you're not in high school. It's not like somebody took an ice cream from the... It ain't like that. You're talking about somebody in the retail establishment stealing probably a whole big bag of Lululemon stuff. Nah. No, man. You got to go ahead and you should say something when that happens, in my humble opinion. Now, I have a scenario here for you guys. Speaking about snitching and telling and police and whatnot. Okay. So we have a woman standing in a space trying to save it, and now there's a conflict over the space. What do? Try to fight over the space, or do you just drive off? Let's play the video.
Calling the police because her friend doesn't want to go look for a spot somewhere else. She refuses to move from this spot here, wasting police resources. Literally called 911 because her friend doesn't want to go park somewhere else. Said I'm being aggressive when I haven't left the inside of my car.
You left your car. You're out of your car.
Have I been anywhere near you?
You're out of your car. You moved your car towards
Okay.
me when
Not
I was
towards
standing
you.
here. Yeah, I'm here.
So you were on the street because I'm on the street. Calling the...
Okay, now look. Here's my opinion. Leave the lady alone. She's standing in a parking space. Now, unless that's your space in front of your house that you pay for, if she's standing right there, why go through all this squabbling trying to park her right there? Look, and you see the other car, her friend is right there. So her friend is right there and you right there. Let them have it. I'm sure you can find a different parking space. If she's already right there in the spot standing, why get the police? Just, hey, don't worry about it. You got it. I'm not trying to go through all the conflict. I don't got the time of the day. And I think by the time you get done squabbling with this lady on the street over the parking space, you could have found another space, parked there, and then got to wherever you had to go. Even if it's further away, by the time you got to the other space, parked, and then walked back here, it would have already been, now you're wasting time. And I don't have time to waste. I'm not going to be, yeah, it's petty. It's very petty. I don't got time to waste. I'm not calling the police over no parking space. Nah. We're not doing that. I have things to do. I got places to go. And nobody got time for no parking space debate. But what do y'all think? Would you call the police over somebody standing in a parking space until their friend got there because you wouldn't have parked there? Or would you keep on driving and find a different space? Y'all let me know. And again, he didn't say it was his space. It's different if it was your space in front of your house that you paid for. That's something else. Okay. Even in that case, I'm not going to sit there and squabble with you. What I'm going to do, if you're in my space that I pay for, I ain't going to squabble with you. I'm going to tell you, hey, that's a paid space and you can't park right there. If you ignore me, I'm going to leave, park somewhere else. I'm going to call the tow truck like, yo, come get her. And then that's it. It's a principle. I don't got time to be trying to fight over no principle. I'm trying to go to my next destination. I'm trying to because you there for like 20, 30 minutes. I'm counting by 5, 10, 15 minutes. Okay. If I'm there for more than 5 minutes, I'm late. I have an appointment at 10 o'clock. It's 9:55. Anyway, speaking about traveling, a TikTok influencer says that the TSA humiliated her at Texas airport. I want to see this. I've not seen this.
TSA in Austin, you're so rude. I accidentally checked in the wrong bag and I didn't notice till I got to security. And I told the woman, first of all, there's like a clear screen, and I tell the lady, and I'm like, oh, that's supposed to be checked in. I cannot hear you, come over here. That was like in itself was like rude, but I was like, okay. And I explained to her, I'm like, that's supposed to be under the plane. I switched the bags. And she's like, here, I'll escort you. She escorts us. And she takes me through the TSA line, and she's like, go ahead and like switch your bag out. And whenever you come back, come through priority and we'll get you checked in. I said, okay, like, thank you. I go to check my bag, I switch them, and I come back. And I go through priority, and the guy scanned my ID, and he's like, you're supposed to be in that line. And I was like, oh, okay. I go, oh, well, the girl over there in the jacket said to come through priority. And they turn around, and she goes, no. I said go through, like, normal TSA, whatever it's called. And then all the guys, TSA, just started laughing.
Okay, I understand what's going on here. I don't know why you're having this breakdown. It ain't that deep. I mean, unless you're like 12 years old or something. If you're an adult going through all of this, it ain't that deep. But she a young lady, so they kind of weak like that. It's fine. It's okay. But what happened here was there's a mix-up. There was a mistake because you made a mistake. They made a mistake after you made it. If you would have done things the way you should have done it from the beginning, you wouldn't be in a situation. So now they're trying to fix your mistake, and they made a mistake. So it's okay. If you made a mistake and they're trying to be gracious, you be gracious to them when they make a mistake. It needs to go be a two-way street. Don't just start breaking down because things are not going your way. The first thing was you made a mistake. Now you got to try to fix it. Then another mistake happens. Now you got to try to fix it. Now you're falling apart. It's okay. But I want to have her finish the story.
They were literally laughing, and they were like, the girl in the jacket, and like making fun of me. And I was like, I just got quiet because I was like, this is so embarrassing. Like,
attention in the terminal, American Airlines flight 1291
and the girl like gets me in or whatever. I put all my stuff in my bin, and I walk through the machine, and they all start yelling, and they're like, ma'am. And the girl in the fucking jacket starts laughing, and she's like, oh my gosh, y'all are yelling at her so much. Like, fucking pick me ass bitch, like a fucking...
All right. Now she's just upset. It's okay, man. Like, I think that, like I said, people, man, they got to have a little bit of a... That's not really anything to be upset about. It was just a mistake. It was some confusion going on. It happens. Because, like, that typically happens when... If you do something, if you make a mistake and then they're trying to fix it and they make a mistake and now y'all don't know what's going on, y'all kind of going back and forth. Young lady, let's get it together, please. Get it together. If I was her dad and she called me, man, hey, Nah, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. All right. So my man right here is asking MAGA supporters to name one policy that Biden has that has impacted him, or name one policy that Biden has that has impacted us as quote unquote MAGAs. All righty, let's watch.
Question for MAGAs. What was something Joe Biden did or a policy he implemented that directly impacted your life or the life of one of your loved ones? Bad answers are getting ridiculed in the comments. Go. Okay.
All right. So, my man, I have a great answer to your question. A great answer. One policy. Open borders. Open borders. That's it right there. I mean, I think we could pretty much drop mic on that. We could pretty much drop mic on that right there. Open borders. Do you know how many, like, the economy suffered? You're talking about we spent $450 billion in 1 year on these people, and we spent that every year. The crime, the violence, the confusion, the chaos. Certain parts of the country worse than others. It's a mess, a complete mess. Look at New York City. They spent billions of dollars and they didn't get a dollar from the federal government. Well, they got a handful of dollars, but not enough. The open borders is most certainly a policy that Biden implemented that impacted me directly. So what do y'all think? Is that the main one, the main policy that affected us? Oh, price of eggs, that's one. Fauci, sanctuary cities, all the policies for sure. So my man, hopefully you're able to get this message and I answered your question and we answered the question. There were quite a few things that Biden did that impacted us, but the main thing was that border. 20 million on the low end, 20 million illegal aliens came into the country in 4 years' time. On the low end, 20 million, and we're still trying to get them out. Talking about some, to get this criminal, wife-beating gangbanger out of the country, due process, whatever. All right, whatever. Bidenomics, price of everything, price of fuel, canceling the Keystone Pipeline. Oh, that's a big one, Amrox, canceling the Keystone Pipeline. Absolutely. Gay pride at the White House. Yep. COVID policies. Yep. Oh yeah. COVID policy. Definitely. That's definitely a big one there. Okay. Michael says, I bought eggs for $3.99 today. Not bad. Yeah. Shout out to the egg prices. Now let's keep on rocking and rolling here. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Now, a little bit of good news. A lot of young men are attending church more. Now, what they're not going to do is go to those LGBTQ, LMNOP, X, Y, and Z churches, in my humble opinion. And if they are, I hope they stop. But I think a lot more men are trying to find real purpose and center themselves in faith and get away from the negative things that could impact them. Okay, so let's watch.
We're seeing this massive push towards Christianity and like young people are adopting.
What do you make of that?
Well, one thing I think is true is that conservatives had more kids in the 2000s. I know a lot of people want to claim these ideological victories where they say like we've red-pilled people. And I've pointed this out for years. No, just in like 2003, there were a couple studies that came out saying that liberals were having less kids than conservatives. Well, 20 years later, what do you expect to see? There's going to be more conservative people than liberal people just because the parents had kids.
Right.
I do think also that one of the more interesting trends, however, is that among Gen Z, irrespective of that, there's been a rightward ideological shift among men. And I think this has to do with contemporary politics, movies, games, culture, etc.
And also men feeling that they were targeted unfairly. There is a lot of toxicity in being maleness. Some of that we can't control. Some of that is just how we're born. We were drawn that way. You know, boys are going to be more rambunctious in school. They're going to be harder to discipline. Yeah. They're going to have more excess energy. And we kind of we went like we do with everything, went overboard and made it seem sometimes like maleness itself was on trial.
Of course. Of course, right on. So shout out to Tim Pool, shout out to Bill Maher. Right on point. So what do y'all think? You think it's just men are trying to find things, find more purpose, or is it that the conservatives had more kids than the liberals over the past few years? So now what's happening is those kids are going to church more than the kids before them. What do y'all think happened? And some are saying Maher and Pool, yuck. Now, as far as going on Tim Pool, as far as me going into Tim Pool, hey, Tim Pool, if you're watching, bro, I'm ready whenever you're ready. Okay, I am ready whenever you're ready, bro. It is all good. All right. Yeah, I would love to go on Tim Pool. That'd be one for the books. I tell you what, that'd be a great show. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Now, what's going on with your man Macron? Well, not your man. What's going on with this man, the president of France? What's going on with him? Okay, I'm going to turn the sound down here. Getting mushed by your wife, bro. Getting mushed by your wife. Look at this. So the door opens as they're about to get off to go to Vietnam. And then all of a sudden, boom. Look at his face. Look at how shocked he was. Now, listen. They said in a response, and they were just play fighting, they said. Okay. They were just play fighting. It's not really a big deal. Do y'all believe that? Because we know politicals lie all the time. Do y'all believe that it was just play fighting? Look, he's just saying, hey, waving, and then his face. Look at this. You see the body language. Hold on. Let's go back. So we see the mush, and right here, what's happening? He's in a defensive stance, trying to protect himself. Now, if it's me, it'd have been Philly shell. Okay, you're gonna get straight shoulder. You're not gonna be able to mush me in my face. You're gonna get instantly. I'm gonna react. You're gonna get your shoulder, my shoulder. So he's trying to like defend himself from getting mushed with two hands, a two-hand mush. That's crazy. And he's like still reeling from it. And he's like, wow, oh my God. And the whole world saw me. The whole world saw me. This look right here is like you got caught in front of your door butt naked. That's kind of what that is. Oh my God, everybody sees me. And now, hey, how are you guys doing? Now I got to play it off. That's what's going on right here. And then you see him turn. It goes from the smiling, hey, to watch. I got to deal with this man. I mean, my wife. Now, again, they are in Vietnam, getting off the plane. If you guys don't know, Vietnam was once part of French Indochina for 70 years. Okay, so they were a former French colony. And there goes the wife, Brigitte. And like I said in my video, she is 40 years older than he is. They met when she was his teacher in school when he was 15 and she was 40. 25 years older. When they met, he was 15, a student in her class. Her daughter was his classmate in that same class. 40 years old and he was 15. If you're 24 years old with a 15-year-old in the USA, you going straight to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks. It don't matter if the male is older or the female is older. You cannot do that here. But I guess in France, it's not really a big deal. So much so that you can get married to your childhood abuser. And of course, the abuse is not stopping because we see it right here. So what do y'all think? Is that embarrassing for the president of France to have that happen to him on TV, to get mush in the face? What do y'all think? Exactly, Sheree. Big rocks, little rocks all day long. Half Orc Monk says it's a classic French love story. There you go. Dana says, Candace says he was 14. Well, hey, you know what? Candace, whatever Candace says, I'll pretty much bet on what Candace says is being true. Candace is like she going to find the information. I said it on Hodge Twins podcast. If you want to find something to get down to the bottom of it, get you a black woman on the case, get Candace Owens, somebody like that, they're going to get down to the bottom of whatever it is. I promise. They're going to find it. They're going to find it. And like I said, whatever she says, I tend to believe it, but I can't say that because they're going to say that I'm, spreading rumors and things of this nature. All right, now, this was an interesting clip from Cenat. I don't watch Cenat. I'm not 15 years old. I'm not watching streamers and stuff like this. But Cenat was at some award show. Was it the VMAs? I don't know. I've not watched TV in years. But he's at an award show streaming, and a guy comes up to him. I'm not sure who this is. But the guy tried to like hijack his stream and say something that I probably would not want him to say. Let's watch.
Nice to meet you. Hi. Hey, Sarah, it's Hi. Hi, Bob. Hey, how you doing? Who let this guy in here? Yeah. Hey, where's Kanye at? We want to say we love Ye. We love Ye for being outspoken regardless because it's America, and I think it's a great thing to live in a free country. Don't you, Kai?
So you see him looking at the camera. He knows automatically. Kai's a smart guy. He's like 22. Smart guy. He realizing that this guy is taking the opportunity to hop on the stream with this really big following. Millions of kids especially follow him. And he's taking the opportunity to talk about Kanye. Oh, isn't he great? Free speech, a political statement. Now, if it's me and I'm Cenat, I'd be upset because why are you doing that right now on my channel? Okay. If you want to talk political, you can ask me first before you do it, rather than just doing that and putting me in the firestorm. But let's watch some of this. And I'm going to lead up to what happened today with the pardonings.
I think it's a free country.
So you really hopped on my stream, knowing my influence.
Yeah.
So come on here and say that.
I think he's a great guy that at the end of the day, you having a dialogue with him.
Hey, that's what I'm going to say. I think I want to protect my energy.
Yeah, well, I think you letting him talk is a good thing.
But no, I'm going to politely ask you, get out of here, guys.
Well, we think it's good to have free opinions.
I get it, but I don't want that. Whatever you got going on, you deal with that. Thank you for your service. Weirdo, bro. People are really out here weird, and I see through so much people.
Yeah, I mean, that I don't like. I don't like anybody coming up on me, just taking over, like, nah. Trying to like push their own narrative. If you want to do something like that, you can ask me first. You can be polite and have a conversation and say, okay, I want to get on your stream and talk about X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I don't like this whole trying to put a political, because now I got to deal with it. Something that you said, now I'm responsible for it. And now people are going to be saying, hey, why didn't you do this? Don't do that. I get what he's trying to say, but you could ask me before you just say it on the stream. Yeah, time and place. Exactly. Time and place. Now, speaking about Kanye, this was him years ago during Trump's first term, talking about freeing Larry Hoover. Y'all know Larry Hoover just got his sentence commuted. He's not out yet because Larry Hoover has two sentences, one from a 1973 murder. Yes, 1973. He's been in prison since 1973. Speaking about Larry Hoover, the former Chicago gang leader who founded the Gangster Disciples, the GDs. That's him right there on the bottom left-hand corner. And there goes Kanye wearing a Free Hoover shirt with a MAGA hat. Now, Larry Hoover been in prison since 1973 for a murder in Chicago, a state sentence which was up to 200 years, between 150 and 200 years in the penitentiary, Big Rocks, Little Rocks, on a state conviction. And then while in state, in 1997, the feds looked into him, investigated him, tracked him for 17 years. 1997, he gets convicted again, this time for running a gang inside the prison. Well, running a gang from the prison, not necessarily a gang inside the prison. He had 35,000 soldiers nationwide outside of prison, making $100 million a year, allegedly. So that was the federal conviction. So he goes from the Illinois State Penitentiary to the Colorado joint, the big one, the big boy, okay, where he pretty much get vanished underground. He's been there, I think, ever since. So the federal commutation will end that in the federal joint, but now he still has a state conviction to deal with. So what'll probably happen is one of two things. One, he'll go back to the state joint and be there for the rest of his life. Or the second thing that can happen is he gets released by the state people, J.B. Pritzker, etc. They get him out of there. But let's watch this from Trump's first term.
7 million to the 9 million surrounding suburbs where we can create some factories. Now, I think it would be cool for them to be Trump factories because he's a master of industry. He's a builder. And I think it would be cool to have Yeezy ideation centers, which would be a mix of education that empowers people and gives them modern information. Like sometimes people say, this kid has ADD, this kid has ADD. You don't have ADD, school is boring. It was boring. It's not as exciting as this. We have to make it more exciting. We have to mix curriculums. You play basketball while you're doing math. You learn about music while you meditate in the morning. We have to instate mental health and art programs back into the city. So those are, and also Larry Hoover is an example of a man that was turning his life around. And as soon as he tried to turn his life around, they hit him with 6 life sentences. So I believe you say don't tear down the statues. Larry Hoover is a living statue. He's a beacon for us that needs to see his family, that needs to go out and represent. When you have a block leader on every single block, they can own the block as their own. That's something I learned from Jim Brown from A Mayor I Can. We need to put...
There's more there, but I don't want to have y'all go through it. Now, at the time, and sometimes right now, some are going to say, what is Kanye talking about? I mean, some things he said in there made sense as far as building factories back in America. He was saying that back, what was that, like 2016, 2017, when his video came out. He was saying that back then. And what are we doing right now? Trying to bring factories back to America, trying to bring jobs back to America, trying to make things in America again with the Chinese tariffs and things of this nature. Also with the education, what did we do? No more Department of Education. Ain't no more Department of Education. That's going to be out of here. And we're going to give more power to the states so they can be creative with the things that they do as far as education. And I will say that right now what we're doing as far as education is not really working too well. You guys may have seen the short clip. Shout out to Monique if you're here. That was a good clip too, Monique. But you guys may have seen the clip about the young lady up there in, what was that, Maryland or Connecticut, who graduated high school without the ability to read. Graduated and can't read. How are you graduating and can't read? And better yet, the better question is, how are you in college without the ability to read? What are we doing? We're wasting our time. If you're not going to some kind of skilled trade or a thing that you can do without a great reading ability, you're wasting your time. And I feel like if you're in college, like a regular college, and you can't read, you're just not going to be succeeding because they're going to give you books. They're going to give you textbooks. They're going to give you reference material. You're going to have to read in order to educate yourself. That's why they know if by the 3rd grade you're having a problem with reading, you can't read by the 3rd grade, it's over with, because after the 3rd grade, you're not going to be taught how to read. They're not going to focus on that. They're going to focus on educating you, and you need to understand how to read in order to become educated. They're going to give you books, do homework, read from the book. Book. You got a book bag. You got a locker. My book bag was crazy, heavy. I got these big, thick books in there. I got 7 books in my book bag. It's the JanSport is busting out the seams. If I couldn't read, what good are the books in my book bag going to do for me? So, yeah. What I'm saying is, what he's saying about education needing an overhaul is correct. Kids are bored. I used to be in class bored too. I used to be in class sleep. Oh man, like my math teacher, especially, like, I don't know what class. It might have been geometry, and I was good in that class. I had like an A in that class. Algebra was kind of hard, but geometry was super simple because it was just shapes. But anyway, I'd be in my geometry class sleep. I'm in the back of the class. It was funny because I had a bald head in high school, so in the beginning of the class, the teacher would have it kind of dim in there, do an overhead projector, and the AC was pumping. I'm in the back of the class. It was like this bulletin board at the back of the class that usually was empty. And I rest my head right there on that bulletin board. And at a certain point, it was a grease stain from my head being on the actual bulletin board sleep. But I still had a good grade in that class. I was just bored. And sometimes when kids are bored, they don't really apply themselves like they could. And they're not learning as much as they could. So that's my point behind that. Now, Jordan Peterson. So did you guys see the Jordan Peterson debate? So It was originally supposed to be one Christian versus 28. I think I might have said 100. One Christian versus 20 atheists. That was the original prompt from Jubilee. Now, what they changed it to was Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists rather than the Christian, because although Jordan Peterson is interested in church and Catholicism and talks about it a lot, he's not trying to really confess his actual faith. He's not really trying to say, I am Christian, I am this denomination, Catholic, Baptist, or whatever. Yes, Catholics are Christian. Yes, they are. Yes, they are Christian. Let's not even do that. But anyway, if the prompt of a debate says Christian, one Christian versus 20 atheists, if you're not an atheist or a Christian, you shouldn't be there, because the whole point is for you to come as who you are and defend your faith or lack thereof. Okay, so that was the first way that he fumbled in this debate. I would not go to a debate if I'm not a Christian and say I'm a Christian. Like, that don't really work. You have to be what you say you're supposed to be. And in the emails, listen, I have, I'm subscribed to Jubilee's notifications, and they do casting calls. They're very specific. They'll say, okay, ages 24 to 30, LGBT, straight, heavy set, over a certain height. They're very specific. So it was never going to be some kind of confusion. If you go there and you don't meet that criteria, you're in the wrong. But let's watch some of this here. I think I have this one. I have this one and another one in which we're seeing Jordan Peterson's debate skills with these young people.
Is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay. You're
their
familiar.
Doctrines are very
how do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a Christian or you're not.
I won't talk to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
He got him. He got him, man. Like, he really did. Like, some said that he was rude, disrespectful. He got him. Nah, he did it. He did it perfect. Like, hey, you know what? I got to give him his credit. He did perfect. Like, he won't do no cussing, no voice raising. He was, hanging there with him intellectually. He's asking them direct questions. You're a Christian, aren't you? Well, what do you think about this? If you're not a Christian, then what's going on? The title of this is Christian versus Atheist. So if you're not a Christian, what's going on? And he had no response. Young man crushed him. And I got to say the truth when it's right in front of my face. He wasn't rude, not at all. That's how you're supposed to do it. You do it just like that. You're stern, you hold your ground, and you ask direct questions. If the person's not answering the questions, then what's going on? What are we doing? I think you're on the wrong video, sir. He did that perfectly. Perfectly. Some don't like the way you said it, probably because it's a younger guy versus an older guy. So it looks like the son talking to the dad, but that's not what it is. We're talking about two adults having a debate. That's how you do it. Now, if I'm talking to my mom or my dad, I ain't gonna talk to them like that, because first of all, we're not having no debates about no political stuff, number one. But number two, I respect my parents in a different way than I would respect you or anybody else. I'm gonna talk to my mom and my dad, RIP, differently than the regular person on the street. And that's just the reality of the situation. Now, here's one more from a different person. Let's watch some of this.
So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean when you say you believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true. and believe?
I said, you think it to be true.
All right. So if
What's
you
a
believe
belief?
something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it. That's what I mean by that. It isn't something that you say. It isn't something that's associated with logical consistency. It's not declarative. It's not propositional. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's the presupposition of your attention and your action. And you're either fragmented, in which case you worship multiple gods, or there's some unity at the bottom of it that makes you an unstoppable force.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
How would you define belief? Something you say?
Can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone like threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your life?
Don't be so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life?
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to like save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
No, can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're like in like Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's like Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them,
example.
Would you lie to like the Nazis? If
I
they're
would have
asking?
done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that
would
situation
you
to begin
lie?
with. It's a hypothetical, and it's
You
not
can't answer
answerable.
hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like
What?
that because
Did
it's
you eat
far.
today?
Look,
Did you eat
don't
today?
play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm just
Yes,
asking if
you
you
are.
ate it.
If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
Being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about, like there could be a Jewish friend that you have and you want to protect them.
I think you should
have
just
them in
give
your
up on
attic.
that line of questioning.
Give up on just like trying to clarify your position? Because you
I
don't
did
like, are you like
clarify.
uncomfortable with me asking this question? It's just a basic hypothetical. Like I could ask
It's
you.
just a basic
Yeah, yeah.
hypothetical
Like, you
where you
if
put Jews' lives at stake in Nazi Germany. That's just a basic hypothetical.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit more, but Jordan Peterson, you getting curb stomped right now, man. It's kind of sad to see. These young guys are tearing you to pieces, bro. They're tearing you up. Shout out to the youngins out there.
So you would lie in that scenario to save their life, but you're like not trying to answer this question for some reason.
I just told you why.
Are you anti-fascist? Like, so you're
Why are
anti-fascist?
you asking that?
I was just asking, just clarifying. But like, okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because you know it shows that you clearly would lie to save
I'm
someone's life.
answering it in
Obviously,
a
that's not
manner
what
you
truth
don't
is.
find acceptable.
Obviously, because I care about
you're-
truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Obviously, right? Logically, because that's
No.
already happened. Like that's in the past. You don't have a time travel device. We're bringing this logical hypothetical up to show you that.
Let's pause. Like, okay, Jordan Peterson wants to say, well, I wouldn't be in a situation. I would do everything I can to not be there. But the reality is that that scenario has happened. That scenario did happen. I mean, what was that? Anne Frank? Like, the scenario did happen. So what would you do in a scenario that has happened, a thing that has taken place? Now, if I was to ask you about pigs flying or something like that, that's something that has not happened. But I'm talking about things that have actually happened. Okay, if there's a car wreck, if you're in Nazi Germany, these are historical things that have happened and can happen. Legitimate scenarios. Why can't you answer the question?
That in some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually how we're typically using it. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to muddy the waters when I ask you, like, do you believe this? Do you think this to be true? So you don't actually have to answer the questions. And plenty of Christians don't like that because they clearly see that you don't really like want to be associated with
I can
Christianity with that
imagine
respect.
that I was in a situation where the best I could do as a consequence of my previous mistakes was to tell the least amount of lie I could manage. But that would likely indicate that I had made all sorts of catastrophic errors on my way there.
So you would lie to save someone's life. So again, you do believe it to be true in that circumstance, even though you like lied in that scenario. So
Not
clearly that's
without
not what
the
you see to be true.
context that I put it in.
You were not willing to
I
die for it.
said-
You were not willing to let other people die for it. So that's not what you see to be true then, seemingly.
Hey, shout out to the youngest, man. Hey, very good. Very good. I like it. These guys are doing their thing. They're doing their thing, man. And I think Jordan Peterson was not the person who should have been right there in that seat, because he's not really trying to profess his Christianity. He's not trying to profess his faith at all. That right there makes for a rocky foundation for this debate. It's supposed to be about Christian versus atheist, but since you don't even want to say you're a Christian or not, you already started off wrong. So all of what you're going to do after that is just kind of fumble and fall down. Yeah, that was rough to watch, man. Oh my goodness, that was rough. Hey, Jordan Peterson, you know, he said some good things, and I'm not anti-Jordan Peterson necessarily, but that was pretty rough. All right, I'm gonna move right along here. I'll move right along, and I'm gonna show you guys some of the financial stuff. Hold on. So this is in UK. Some of their inflation they got going on. Okay, for real says ABL, perhaps you should challenge Jordan to a debate. I don't think I want to do that, because Jordan does not appear to be the kind of guy that's going to answer questions. And I'm the kind of guy, I'll ask you a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask you direct questions, and you got to answer them. You got to answer these questions. And that's like, really, that's kind of, he was kind of amateuristic on a debate, to be totally honest with you, because an easy and common debate tactic is to ask questions directly. Because when you ask certain questions, you can easily debunk their argument. You can easily debunk it. If you say, I'm not going to do this thing, and then I ask you a question of a realistic scenario and you refuse to answer it, you lost. You lost right there. Off rip, you lost. So that's easy. That's debate 101. He'd be a tomato can at best, and it would be kind of embarrassing. But let's watch some of this. This is UK inflation.
Aldi inflation since last year. Iceberg lettuce was 43p now.
And RP to the headphone user. Sorry for the loud noise. Let's start from the top, shall we?
Aldi inflation since last year. Iceberg lettuce was 43p now it's 89p, up 107%. Furniture polish was 41p now it's 85p, up 107%. Mint Imperials were 49p now they're 95p, and they're up 94%. Tomato puree was 31p now it's 59p, and it's up 90.3%. Lasagna sheets were 49p now they're 75p, and they're up 53.1%. Snack Right multi-pack crisps were 85p now they're £1.29, and they're up 51.8%. Melons were £1.19 now they're £1.79, and they're up 50.4%. 2.5 kilogram bag of potatoes were £1.59 now they're £2.25, up 41.5%. Mozzarella chocolate was £1.59 now it's £2.29, up 44%. Blueberries were $1.29 now they're $1.79, up 38.8%. Spring onions were 50p now they're 69p, and they're up 38%. And corn on the cob was 95p now it's £1.29, and it's up 35.8%.
I got a question. Why is all the food in bags though? Like, do y'all not have fresh produce? Is that not a thing in UK? Well, some of it, the onion y'all got out in the regular produce, but the corn in the bag, blueberries in the bag. Well, I understand that, but the potatoes, all of that, a lot of bagged and boxed stuff. Tomato puree, do you need that? I don't know. So I don't know. The bottom line is things are more expensive. There is inflation, and over there, especially, I know they're gonna be dealing with it. I know they're gonna be dealing with corn. Exactly, corn in the bag. Like, where do they do that at? I've never seen corn on the cob in the bag like that. Maybe they have it, but I would never buy that. I would never buy that. Like, the food that I get does not come in the bag. I don't buy any food that comes in the bag that I can think of, except for, I guess, trail mix come in the container, but not like a plastic bag. But yeah, if it comes in the bag, then I'm probably eating the wrong thing. I might eat food from a bag on the big back day. Yeah, my big back cheat day, Friday. I might wild out, get me some McDonald's, give me a chicken sandwich and a medium fry with some water. That's my cheat day. But I would not go to the grocery store and just buy boxes and bags and stuff like this. All right. Now, there's a Boston dorm room inside a shopping mall. Would you live there? Let's watch some of this.
This is what it's like to have your college dorm inside of a mall. At the end of the mall is the Sheraton Hotel, which is actually the dorm. My school bought it. The inside is much nicer than a normal freshman dorm, and it really still has that hotel feel even though it's been fully converted to dorms. At the end of the hall is my room, and honestly, these rooms are just huge. The curtains are automatic, and they reveal amazing views. This room is actually where I started my own business.
Man, look, hold on. Wait, let's stop. If you were to give me a hotel room in college, oh my God, man, Lord have mercy. Look, I did not live on campus. I lived at home and worked and then commuted. A hotel. All right, let me let him finish.
Which is what this banner is about. My business is a tool that actually helped me study a lot. Basically, it's a website that can write cheat sheets on.
All right, so it's just an ad for his AI. But still, I mean, would you live in a hotel room like this for your dorm room inside of? So I guess it's a mall that they converted into a hotel. I guess that's the way it is. Yeah, but let's watch some more.
In-house laundry. If you've made it this far, please check my profile out so you can learn more about my business. This is what it's like.
All right, so yeah, what do y'all think? Would you live there? I think for me, it'd just be too much. That'd just be asking for trouble. Me at 18, 19, living there, nah, that's just too much. All right. Now, here is something about the affordability of housing. I've not watched this, so let's see if he's on point or off point.
Let me put today's housing market in perspective for you. If you had a job making $3.60 per hour and worked a full-time job all year, you could afford a house where the median home price is about $23,000 to $25,000. Today, in order to have the same amount of buying power in buying a home that somebody making $3.60 in 1970 had, in 2025, you would have to make exactly $57.32 an hour full-time all year with no time off to maybe afford a home. Let me put today's house.
Okay, so what he said in 1970, your minimum hourly was $3.60 per hour to afford a house back then, which was like $23,000 to $25,000. Okay, that's what he says. Now, 2025, you need to make $57.32 an hour to afford today's home prices. How you feel about that? I think it's kind of on point, off point. What do you think? And also, what kind of job were you having in 1970 to pay $3.70 an hour? What were you going to be doing for a living to make you that much money? Okay, y'all let me know, because that matters as well. What were you doing? What was your job back then that made that kind of money? Y'all let me know. All right, now, this is going to be about people in Philly. How much do they make at their job? Now, I know a little bit about Philly. They don't get paid that much from what I was able to see before, but let's just see if that is true or false in this particular video. Again, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, how much do they get paid?
I'm an operations analyst. I'm an insurance broker. And how much are you making? I make $56,000 a year. I'm also a waitress part-time, and I make about $20,000 a year. What about you? How much are you making? I make $77,500.
I'm the co-founder and president of a nonprofit organization called the Community Grocer. We're really reinventing retail access to nutrition in low-wealth communities, and we're going to be the first SNAP-eligible retailer in the country in full compliance with federal policy to allow recipients to walk away with a hot, healthy meal.
How much?
Sounds good, but me pause on right there. When you're talking about having a grocery store in the ghetto, the problem is going to be theft all the time. That's going to be the problem. And it's hard to succeed in that environment. Grocery store or even like a Dollar General or something like that is going to be a big problem with theft. That's the reason why you don't have grocery stores out there, because people are not buying enough food anyway, even if not for the stealing, and they're going to steal a lot. So your profitability is going to be next to nowhere. Your best bet for a hood spot is like a corner store, a small footprint with food that is pretty good for you. Like, you know what I would do? Here's what I would do before they say how much he makes. What I would do if I was to open a grocery store in the hood, I would have all fresh produce in there. All fresh produce. Nothing that you could just take away in the bag or something like that. So if you want to steal from that store, you're going to have a hard time trying to carry out a bunch of artichokes and stuff like this in your pocket. I mean, like, what kind of idiot would you be walking down Broad Street with a pocket full of like straight up tomatoes? Like, why would you do that? Anyway,
much are you making in your role?
For the first 2 years, we weren't getting paid, and I was bartending nights. But this year, we started paying ourselves, and I'm walking away with $60,000 a year. Maybe I'm a little undercompensated. I'm working 7 days a week and trying to bring this vision to life. But it's a vision that is a collective journey, and for me, it's just the work I want to be doing.
That's not bad though, to be doing that kind of work in the hood with a grocery store. That's not bad at all. That's actually pretty good. Shout out to him.
Am currently an associate finance manager at a large CPG company. And how much are you making? I'm currently making a base of 105 with a 9% bonus opportunity.
I am a project specialist at a nonprofit healthcare benefits company.
How much are you making in your role?
I am making $71,000. I do have my master's, but this is my first role in project management.
What did you get your master's in?
So I had my bachelor's in psychology, and I ended up getting my master's in public health. A lot of those jobs can be, nonprofit and grant funded, which can be a little iffy, especially right now. It ebbs and flows, but there are definitely jobs out there that will pay you what you're worth.
If you need help finding them, check out our job board. We have transparent jobs.
All right, there we go. That's again in Philly. How much are they making out there in Philly? Some decent salaries, some a little bit lower than, definitely lower than the major city. If you go to New York and ask that question, it'll be different. If you go to Atlanta and ask that, it's going to be a little bit different, depending upon who you ask. We saw the tech bro making $500,000 a year. Some of y'all said that it was fake, but I don't believe it to be fake. But out there in Philly, that's not bad. Now, the question would be, is it expensive to live out there? Is it cheap out there? What are the neighborhoods like? Are you dealing with a dangerous environment, making that kind of salary? Living somewhere with what you make? That'd be my question. All right, my man right here has a oil. He has oil fields oil well. He has an oil well. How much? At least one oil well, maybe more. All right, and he's able to make money from the well by pumping the oil himself. This is an old man too.
How much money does this little well make a month?
A month?
Yeah. Is this your retirement between these 5 wells?
So he has 5 wells, small wells.
Yeah. That well up on
Keeps you busy.
60 is a 2 barrel a day.
2 barrel a day. Yeah.
So that's $130 a day. So
yeah, it's pretty
pays
damn
my
good.
bills.
That's great. That's awesome. What about operating costs? What do you got to pay for? You don't have operating costs.
No, I do it myself. And I sold a load of oil back in the early 2000s for $150 a barrel.
Yep.
I sold 90 barrel up at that Garland 6. I got $12,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's never going to happen again.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
How much money does it?
So, hey, I mean, it's not a whole big, truckload of money, but it's money. Just pumping the oil from the well. I mean, why not? He's chilling. He's up there in age. He's good. I didn't know that was a thing, like private little oil wells like that. I didn't even think about that. But I guess it does make sense. I guess it does make sense. All right. Now, this is going to be a condo in Scottsdale, Arizona. All right. Are they going to tell you the price? Hold on.
This is what a 1 point.
Yeah, they're going to tell you the price. So, again, condo, Arizona, $1.249 million. Scottsdale. Now, Scottsdale, if you've never been there, it's beautiful. The mountain right there, Camelback. It's a beautiful place to be. It's hot as hot can be in the summertime. Oh, my Lord. I mean, it is unbearable. You're going to be a rotisserie chicken in Scottsdale, Arizona in the summertime. But it's beautiful. I like it a lot out there. I like the Western vibes. The people, they're all right. You got some of the California element out there. But overall, it's pretty cool. Let's watch.
This is what a $1.2 million condo looks like in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is the Optima. And if you've been to Scottsdale, chances are you've seen it. With world-class amenities like this state-of-the-art gym, this basketball court, and this indoor Olympic-sized pool, you even have your own shops and restaurants. Okay, I'll shut up. Let's take a look inside.
I'm not really a fan of having all of that in one place. It's like a 5-minute city kind of a little bit, but let's keep on going. All right. Nice staging, but what am I looking at here? Wait a minute. Is this open floor plan? Like, what am I seeing? Hold on. Is it open? Like, there's no door? Oh, okay. It's just an open door. Because I was like, where's the door to the bathroom at? But it's a door right there, you see? I was like, nah, we're not going to have no open floor plan with the bathroom and all of that just out in the living room.
This is what a 1.2.
So what do y'all think? 1.2 for a condo? Oh, also with a condo, I would never in my life buy a condo because with a condo, my dad had a condo. It was a nightmare. He said that since you're in the shared space in the condo, it's kind of like an apartment building. And let's say somebody down the hall or in an adjacent unit floods their property, you got to help pitch in to pay. And if you can't, you get kicked out. If the roof needs repair for the entire structure, you got to pitch in to pay or you get kicked out. Now, I'm not sure how this one is because it doesn't appear to be like an apartment building, but maybe it is. Yeah, I think it kind of is. It's like a smaller apartment building. It's not very many units right there. But yeah, any of this complex architecture, anything like that gets messed up, you're going to have to repair it. The watering systems to keep all these shrubs and stuff like that green, you got to pay all of that as well. Plus it'd be HOA fee. So property taxes, HOA fee, condo fees, any extra fees on top of the condo fees, HOA, it's expensive. So it's more than 1.2. I'd rather would buy a house for 1.2 if I'm gonna spend that much money. Hey, we doing house hunting, that's right. Now, look, me personally, I like where I live at right now. I would not live anywhere else in the country other than Atlanta, Georgia. So I would go to Atlanta, Nashville, or right here. This little area of the country, I love it a lot. I'm not going to go nowhere to live. I go visit another place, go hang out somewhere, vacation somewhere, but I'm not living nowhere else. Anywhere else, back to Virginia, maybe one day, or West Virginia. But I'm not going to Arizona. I'm not going to Florida. Shout out to Florida. I'm definitely not going to the left coast, California. You can't pay me no money in the world to go to California. I refuse. They can say, hey, ABL, look, okay, we're going to put you on TV and you can do whatever you want, but you got to live in California. I'll be like, must I live in California the whole time? I can't just commute from Atlanta to LA once a month. I mean, good night. But anyway, this guy's building a 7,000 square foot home for $650. Okay. So if you're going to spend some money on, this might be the better way to do it. Okay. Again, 7,000 square foot home for $650. Half of the condo.
Behind me, we have my family's dream home that I'm currently building. We just got done framing the other day, just got windows in. This house is 5,200 square feet, 7,000 square feet under roof. Goal is to build this house for $650,000. So far on this build, I have spent $290,000, and here's a full cost breakdown.
Now, before it's full cost breakdown, you guys are asking me, am I still going to Vegas? I'll be in Vegas again. Vegas, it's cool to visit. I wouldn't live there, but I would go there to visit. Texas is cool. Shout out to the Texans, but it's far. I like to be kind of close to East Coast, family, all of that. I don't have anybody out there that way. So it's kind of far. And I don't see the benefit of living there versus Tennessee. But it's a nice place to live. I wouldn't be against living in Texas if I had to. Okay. Let me see. I'm reading some of this here. All right, let's keep on going.
In the same location, there was an old house there that we tore down. The cost of demo was $13,000. After we tore the house down, we got building plans and permits. That total was $11,900. First thing we did before we ever started on the foundation, we excavated and installed the storm shelter where the future garage floor was going to be. This storm shelter was $5,500. We decided to do a monolithic slab on this foundation. We have a 3-car garage and 2,700 square feet downstairs, so about a 4,500 square foot slab.
How you feel about having a slab foundation on a house that big? Would you do slab or a crawl space? I don't know. I feel like maybe a crawl space might be better. I don't know. What do y'all think? Slab or crawl space or basement?
And that total was $35,590. All the framing and roof materials and labor, that total was $110,000. Windows and exterior doors, that total was $39,000. We had to do the under slab plumbing and then the plumbing rough-in once the framing was completed, and I've spent $15,000 on that. Electrical is finished and roughed in. I have spent $19,000 on electrical rough-in. Last thing I've paid for so far is all of our cabinets. I went ahead and paid a deposit on those, and that was $42,000. So far, we have been under budget on everything, but I have a feeling that's about to change. And this is when things really start to get expensive, start to add up. So originally, that old house, they had overhead electrical. We are about 1,500 feet off the road. And you can see this electrical line is about 500 feet, and it was tied to the...
See, I see your trench right there, bro. You got a trench right there. You're going to put the electrical on the ground. I see you got a big trench. So that probably was a lot of money to have that trench dug up for you and to put the line under to get to your house. If you're going to do that, that's going to be kind of expensive.
This electrical line is about 500 feet, and it was tied to the existing house. We decided we didn't want this big overhead power line in our front yard. So we have to dig about 500 feet, a 4-foot deep trench, in order to install this main power line for the service on the house. Digging the trench is not bad at all.
Look at that.
But as you can see, we have a bunch of these pockets of rock. And unfortunately, it's too much rock. The excavator is not going to be able to dig it out. So only option is to come in here with a bigger track hammer with a big hammer and hammer out all this rock. That ain't going to be cheap. If you're new here and you want to check out other videos on my house.
So there's more you got to do as far as having that trench. I don't know. I think that trench might be a little bit unnecessary. I would just have the overhead power line because that trench is going to cost you an arm and a leg to get that done. But yeah, what do y'all think? A lot of you guys said slab. Some guys said basement. But I guess having a slab would save a lot of money. But it's probably more functional to have a basement for a house that's that big. 7,000 square foot. I want a basement or at least a crawl space. But probably not even a crawl space, a basement, a full basement. That'd make more sense. And then, see, since he already dug a like a bunker, a storm bunker, rather than just digging the bunker, dig a whole basement. It might cost you more, but ultimately you probably save in the long run if you got to do any kind of repairs. Because I heard some horror stories about slab foundation. Like, I have a slab and it's okay, but I've heard stories about people having this slab dug up. Like, I'm talking about jackhammer in the middle of your house. They taking your floor up, they taking your cabinetry, all of that out, and jackhammering your slab to get underneath it. You could avoid all of that type of situation by just having the basement, and you could just access all of that up in the ceiling tiles. Take the ceiling tiles off, and then the plumbing is right there. You only got to finish the basement. You could just have it to be a space where you service underneath your house. But I would finish the basement. If you're going to have a house that's that big, finish the basement, make it look nice down there. Don't do them little, coffin size 6-foot ceilings. Do at least an 8-foot, maybe even a 9-foot ceiling in the basement. I would do that. Spring for that, and you have better resale value on your house. That's just my humble opinion. Some houses out here where I live at, they got basements, and those are the big boys. Those are going to be the ones that sell for more money than mine. You got a basement and a big footprint, you got more value in your home, in my humble opinion. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Half Orc Monk says, my house is 1,200 square foot and it's more space than I need. Same, like if my house was 1,500, I'd be fine. My house is too big. 2,800 is way too big. 1,500 is plenty big enough. All right, hold on. Greg says 500 feet of underground power line, voltage drop, 2 arms and 2 legs. Yeah, big money. Yeah, keep that overhead power line. You'll be all right. And you're not even on the road. You're far off the road. Keep it right there. You'll be fine. That trench, all of that. If it was me, rather than digging that trench to have an underground power line, I would have kept the overhead and sprung for the basement if I'm going to spend the money. Rather than doing the bunker and the trench basement. But anyway, all right. It's getting way late. I'm way past my time, but let's get to the calls in a minute here. The number to call is 706-406-3287. Again, 706-406-3287. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here in a minute. But first things first, let's get to the super chats. Super chats and the calls. Thank you to Kai's Posthumous, who says, how about the California, I'm not sure what this is, CACIF sport trans issue with Trump? I'm not sure what that is. Caius also says, ABL, how about the aliens rioting in Los Angeles last night? I'm not quite sure I saw that. Thank you to the Whitesman for gifting 10 ABL memberships. I appreciate you for that, boss. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox, who says David Hall was not at school during the shooting. He was at home. Well, hey, if you say it, that's what it is. Thank you to Michael D'Angelo, who says, thoughts on Andrew Tate being charged in UK. Last I heard, he is running for Prime Minister of Britain. Well, is Andrew Tate over there in Europe still? Listen, if he's in Europe and they got him again, he's an idiot. Him and Tristan, because they're also U.S. citizens. They were both born here in America, which means they have birthright citizenship, unless they renounced it, but they have citizenship of the U.S. They moved to UK later in life, but they are natural born U.S. citizens. So they were born here. Their father is American and they were born here. So I don't know what's up. Can they not come back to the States? If it was me and I'm an American citizen and they're trying to prosecute me in Europe, it could be Romania, Poland, Russia, UK, France, whatever. And they're trying to get me over there. As soon as I'm out of Romania, I'm leaving Europe, period. I'm leaving the Schengen zone. I'm leaving all of that. Even though UK is not necessarily EU, you're still in their territory. I'm out of the whole continent of Europe. I'm going to come right back to America if I was them. So if they're still over there, which I'm not sure they are or not, and they got charged, that's their fault. That's their fault. And if you guys don't know, Tristan and Andrew Tate, both the brothers, got charged in UK today with the same thing they were charged with in Romania. Pimping and pandering, basically, but a different name over there. Yeah. So my thoughts are, if they're in Europe, they're stupid. And then what else did I get? Somebody sent me something. Duel says, if you had Michael Jordan money, what would your dream house be? My dream house, Duel, is a good, okay. My dream house would be a good, I want something that's like close to where I live at right now. So there's houses where you got a good acre of land and you have animals. What I would want to have is like a farm, like a small sustenance farm. I can grow whatever. I'll be growing food in my farm. I have some animals. I have chickens. I have cows. I have horses to ride. Of course, not to eat no horse meat, but chickens, cows, horses. I would have koi pond. I have all of that. I have beautiful flowers, shrubs, trees, all of that on my property. Everything. I grow everything. A beautiful property close to the city, but far enough away to where you can have chickens, roosters, 5 o'clock in the morning. That's what I want. Country living, but city adjacent. So that'd be what I do. The size of the house don't really matter. It's all about the functionality and the beauty of it. That'd be my main thing. And also the land that surrounds it. Having that land, that's going to be very important. I might put a creek right there, little bridge over the creek. You got kids, you can go put you could build a whole playground set for them in one part of the property. That'd be what I want all day long. So eventually one day I'm going to do that for sure. Sounds great, Leslie? Yeah, there you go. There you go. A tiny house on 5 acres facing the mountains. Exactly, Kiwan. And we have that out here. We got mountains, hills, all of that. And that's how they be. It'll be a small house, not too totally big. And you got the backdrop of the mountains. You got all your animals. You got nature. All of that is right there. You might see some deer in your front lawn grazing. That's what you want. Like I would see that like in Virginia, people had houses like that. You go way out deep, like Deep Creek, Hickory, all of that in Chesapeake. You go to somebody's house, you pull up, it's frogs, ribbit. It'd be deer. It'd be like 3 deer in their front yard chilling, just frolicking, like a Bambi. You see that for real in real life in somebody's front yard. Okay, black folks, all of them, black, white, whatever, had them kind of houses like that. Anyway, let's get to some calls. A Boosie compound. You guys are funny. The number to call is, his lake is kind of like a little nasty. Can we get some? Can we get that lake dredged up a little bit? I'm seeing brown water. Can we get some blue water? But anyway, the number to call, 706-406-3287. Again, 706-406-3287. Let's get to some calls here. And let's get it loaded up right quick. There we go. We're on, rocking and rolling. Yeah, but if you don't know, the rapper Boosie has a compound, quote unquote. He has a pond where he does some fishing. That pond about dirty as dirty can be. All right, let's go to, who am I speaking to? 734?
Hi, this is Taisha from Michigan. I just wanted to comment on the whole Brigitte and Macron thing. I think it's very insulting how they tried to tell us that it was fake, as if we all couldn't see that smack was very much real, even how he looked surprised when the door flinged open, and even from the reaction of the Asian lady. Like that was just really ridiculous how they tried to tell us that was fake.
Yeah, I mean, that's really crazy because it was clear what was going on. He was shocked. He's getting abused, and they want to put out a fake story. It's like, come on, don't insult my intelligence.
Exactly. I feel like he been had it as husband ever since he got caught doing a little bit of too much partying. And my second comment was regarding Jordan Peterson. I remember, when that first got uploaded and I was scrolling through YouTube and I seen that it was a Christian versus an atheist. And with Jordan Peterson, the Lord said, deny me in front of your friends and I will deny you in front of my Father. So he needs to make up what he want to be and actually stand on the ground and stop pandering to different ideologies and switching up his viewpoints. But that was just all my comments for tonight.
Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay.
Hey, she right on point. Say it right there in the book. You deny me in front of your peers. You deny me in front of your... Nah, okay. Well, I'll deny you in front of my Father, in front of the big man, in front of the Lord upstairs. It's right in the book. So she's right on point. See, and that's why if you're going to appear on a debate about Christian versus atheist, you need to really be about that. Be a Christian. Be what you say you're going to be. And if you're not, then don't. If you're not a Christian, it's okay. But don't go to a debate as a Christian if you're not a Christian. If you're scared to confess your faith in front of the world, then you're not really about that Christianity life. And if you're not that, it's okay. But just say that. Don't try to ride the fence. That's not really how it should be. So very well said. Very, very well said. Shout out to her. Amen. Amen. Exactly. You guys saying it right in the chat. But you guys know what the drill is. The number to call, 706-406-3287. The lines are on and ready to rock. Yeah, but Jordan Peterson, he says some things that make sense, I suppose, occasionally. But, everybody can't always be on point. Everybody can't always be on point all the time. It is what it is. All right, let's go. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony, Clifford A Ranger Xbox. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. About yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, I think our esteemed college professor was having an off day that day. He was looking for an intellectual debate and wasn't expecting such a hostile little snot.
I think
he should have stood his ground.
I think that they were better than he was. I think that he was not prepared to really talk about being a Christian. And that's kind of what set things off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. He just wasn't, he was just taken by surprise, a little flat-footed, honestly.
Yeah.
But it just didn't look like typical Jordan Peterson. But, yeah, hey, brother, keep up the good work. Love the show. God bless. You take care. America, God bless you. Let's get our country back, people. Bye.
All right, now, shout out to my man. FNA Ranger Xbox for the call. Yeah. Nah, he wasn't ready. That's all that happened. And they tore him to pieces. Young guys embarrassed him. 559 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, Patrick from California. How's it going?
Everything's good, man. How about yourself?
Good, man. Good hearing from you. What's your take on Bobby removing all of the dyes, the red 40 and yellow 5 from our food?
I think it's great because the American diet, the things that we eat and the things that we allow in our food, they don't allow in food in other parts of this world. We're the only ones that really do, like maybe China would do some stuff like that, putting out plastic rice. We got to stop with the poisoning of the food because it's impacting the health of the people. So it's a great thing in my humble opinion.
Do you think in the long run it's going to affect prices? Do you think that it might make food in general more expensive, or do you think that it will eventually balance itself out? I can't say whether we're seeing like too bad of an inflation, but do you think it will eventually come down? Will these companies start to switch over to these more real natural ingredients, or do you think that we might actually see a lot of organizations go out of business because of this?
Well, I think that there could be some kind of price adjustment, maybe higher, but not anything that it'd be too terribly noticeable. And I think ultimately a lot of the food colorings are for marketing purposes. Okay, you want to have these bright colored Fruity Loops that'll just get more attention to purchasing the actual product. It's really just more about marketing than anything else in my humble opinion. So I think that it won't really impact anyone other than potentially some of these companies that cannot maximize their profit because they cannot market the same way they did before. But I don't think it'll really be a big impact on the economy.
Yeah, I do agree with you 100% on that. Hey, shout out to Bobby. I'm going to buy my beef tallow off Amazon now. Anyway, all right, ABL. Thanks so much for your time, man. I appreciate it. God bless you as always, and God bless the United States of America. Take care.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, good call. I mean, I don't anticipate prices really changing. It's really just more about that marketing because you'll see Fruity Loops right next to ones without the dyes in it, and the ones without the dyes in it don't look as vibrant, don't look as appealing. So that's kind of what it is in my opinion. There could be some type of price change, but a lot of this stuff that has a dye in it, we really shouldn't be eating anyway, to be totally honest. So maybe the company that sells you poisonous foods may suffer. But is that a bad thing? If the company that sold you the food was contributing nothing to your nutrition other than, diabetes and disease, why would you want to eat that anyway? If you're buying sugar all day, let's say you buying boxes of cereal and the box, I don't know how much, I don't eat cereal. How much is a box of cereal? How much is it? Let's say the box is $5. I'm an ignorant person when it comes to that price, so please pardon me. But let's say it goes from 5 to 6. Are you going to stop buying it? And if you do stop buying it, is that a bad thing? I tell you what won't be impacted by the food dyes, fresh produce. Anyway, let's go 859. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yo, ABL, it's your Luciferian Libertarian friend here. How's it going, buddy? I'm just doing some orders, cashing some checks, making some bills, and hustling, as usual.
Right on, man. What's happening?
Oh, not much. Just listening to your show, and I caught wind of the debate between Jordan Peterson and the 99 atheists or something like that. So it's supposed to be like the debate between Christians and atheists, and I agree with you on that, man. Like, if you're not going to say you're a Christian and saying, I'm just Jordan Peterson in the debate, and you're denying the fact that you're part of a belief system that you wholeheartedly, you put your life into, right? And that was the whole thing, because that's the thing is, a lot of my relatives, surprisingly as it is, are like Southern Baptists, but they know in and out of the Bible to the point, to a T, that they have a scientific mind of it. And if he's not ready to go into a debate with other people who are opposing opinions, that's kind of sad. And normally, Jordan Peterson is good on debates, especially with the whole freedom of speech argument, gender arguments, and I will say those are kind of like easier arguments. The whole Christian versus atheist kind of debates has always been a thing during the 90s, and has always been a thing during the 90s. But trying to do it now, in comparison with Jordan Peterson doing it, I think he should stick with the whole freedom of speech debates or the gender debates. I would not see him as a historian or a person who is more knowledgeable of the Bible or religion,
Right. Yeah. I was like, okay, if you're not good at a certain thing, if you're not good at debates about religion or Christianity specifically, maybe that's not where you should be focused. Focus on what you're good at.
Exactly, and I definitely agree. And that's the thing is, I've seen debates between both sides. He was lacking on the debates, and he got too emotionally involved with it, which basically broke him down to make him not to get himself cleared-headed to those answers and for memory. If you're angry, you're not going to remember certain things or quotes or certain points that you can point out to. So he already lost the debate when he let his emotions into it.
That's right.
And that's the one thing. You can't put your emotions into certain debates. You have to speak the facts. And Jordan Peterson was always a person that facts over feelings, and now it's getting thrown at his face now again. As ironic as it is. And I really appreciate your taking my phone call, ABL. Love the show. I'm fans. I'll check you out sometime. See you later.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your content. Much appreciated, man. See you.
Right on. All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. Let's go to. Okay, did I get you? Okay, I almost went to look for that one. But yeah, sit there what you're good at. If you're not really good at, religion and things of this nature, don't talk about that. Talk about what you're good at. You're on line speaking to 517.
Hey, this is Kevin, the nervous Christian guy.
All righty, man. What's going on?
How you doing, ABL?
It's all good, man. Can't complain.
Hey, I just wanted to make a quick comment. So I've been watching a lot of videos lately from all different sources, and people are talking about black fatigue. And I'll tell you right now, in my view, I love listening to people like Candace Owens, Officer Tatum, and you. There's no such thing as black fatigue. There's lying fatigue. I'm sick of people using, the black experience as something so that they can lie about. Or anything. Jewish experience, it's just to lie about. Or anybody. If anybody was to use the white experience and lie about it, I would be fatigued after a long period of time. And I just think that people have to put this in the right perspective so that people that, want to lie about it don't choose to lie against, the opposite, and they use it as an opposite form of lying or another way of saying, oh, well, that was bad, what you did, or kind of just turning it on them. You know what I mean?
Right on.
I believe that it's quite an important thing to put it in the right context so that people realize, that's not the thing. And about Jordan Peterson, I've been a Christian since 2002, and I'll tell you that it takes a lot of faith to get through 20 years, or should I say 23 years of being a Christian. But I give Jordan Peterson credit, but he has to step up his game. If he really is serious about being a Christian, and I've been a Christian my whole life, I am absolutely going to tell him it's going to take every ounce of faith from you. And if you're not willing to put it in the beginning, how do you think you'll ever be able to do it in 20 years?
Well, yeah, good question.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it takes everything of me. I've been trying to save myself from marriage since I was, since I was a kid, and it's taken everything out of me. It's taken everything. Sometimes I don't know if I could make it. Sometimes it's been a really rough experience. But I just want to say, ABL, that those are the two things I want to talk about. I think people they shouldn't take it out of context. Just because the context is not perfectly precise. I understand that people are like, oh, well, black this, black that, but they're that with every lie. Every lie that ever floats around the world. It gets fatigued after a while. If you sit there and water it or, harvest it, it can get out of control and it'll turn into the opposite. It'll turn into people being racist again, I think. And that's not what we need. We need people to stop lying about if a black person has a quarrel with a white person, be honest. There's many people that are willing to hear them out and accept them. And, sometimes, but, they want to make their life better. And I think that the same thing with anybody. I think every person in the world wants to eventually make everybody's life better to make their own life better. And I think that's what to put it in the context that doesn't make sense is going to have an adverse reaction.
Right on. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry, what is that?
I said right on, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think people have, because there's always going to be the people that lie. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you put it in the right context, they can't lie about it. They can't use it as a weapon to attack someone else. So if you have it in the right context, nobody can mess with it, and it literally has a very strong place in like moving forward from as a country. That's what it is. I am more than willing to have a country with anybody, black people, white people, Asian people, anybody who's willing to care about my life. I care about theirs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So anyway, thought I'd let you know, ABL, I love your show. I watch you all the time. You're amazing. As I said before, thanks for all the work you do, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
You too. Appreciate you. God bless. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. And shout out to you guys again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing tonight, if you like what you heard so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Who am I speaking to? 617.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, ABL?
What's going on?
So do you read the bill? The big, beautiful
no, I've
bill?
not read it.
Oh, you haven't read it. So you don't know anything about the taxation, the lies that they've been saying that there gonna be no taxes on overtime.
You said what now? Say it one more time.
There's no gonna what they were saying is that there's gonna be no taxes on overtime. So everything over 40 hours there'll be no tax.
Okay, what about it?
That's just not true. So I want you to take a look, and also the tax on tips is just not true either.
So is the tax on tips not in the bill?
It's on the bill, but it's not the way that they describe it. Like let's say you work as a bartender and you get $300 on tips a night. You still got to pay taxes on those bills, on the $300. So it's not exactly that the way that they design. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem with YouTubers.
Okay. So what does it say about the actual tax on tips in the bill?
Well, I want you to read it. I'm not going to tell you.
Why you do that? You're going to come up here and then say something and then not substantiate your claim. Just say what it is.
Okay, what it is you only have a deduction up to $25,000. A deduction up to $25,000 depends 10% of the amount of the tips that you receive for the year.
So basically, so wait a minute. So does that mean that you can take all your tips below $25,000 without being taxed?
No. It's a percentage of the tax of the all tips paid.
All tips paid to who? To the restaurant, or to the one person?
To the tax. I mean the tips that you receive. So you only have the ability to deduct a percentage, and the limit is $25,000. So it's not the way that they describe it.
Okay, so wait. So if you're able to deduct the tips from your taxes, from your taxable income?
Yeah, on your taxable income.
Oh man, wait a minute. That's a bad thing? So hold on. So let me just explain to the audience. If you get up to $25,000 in tips, you can deduct that from your taxable income.
No. That's not what I said.
What you just said.
That's not what I said.
So wait a minute. So what? How am I wrong?
Because it's only 10% of that. 10% of the total, up to 25%. So you got to read the bill on the
Okay, so 10% of 25,000.
No. I want you to read the bill.
Look. At the end of the day, you talking about some read the bill. If you read the bill and you know everything, you should be able to tell me.
I just explained to you.
Don't get on here and then say, oh well, it doesn't say that, and you don't know what it says.
I know what it says.
Anyway, go ahead. Move on to your next point.
All right, man. Good night, man. Just do it ready.
All right. He got mad. So hold on. Now, look, I've not done any videos about that. I've not done any videos on the tax bill. I've not done anything about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say something about I think I don't know. But now, let me just see what I can I'm gonna see what I can find right now since we're talking about it. Okay. Senate passes no tax on tips act. No tax on tips. Okay, let's see some of this. All right. So I'm gonna just pull up a news article because that's what I like to do. And I got the bill too. So we could do both of those at the same time. Hold on. Just for a moment. Y'all hang in there, roll with me. So let's read some of this. So this is from today, May 28th at 4 p.m., almost 5 p.m. Senate passes no tax on tips act. Service industry workers hopeful. So it says the bill, which passed unanimously without amendment, would exempt cash tips from federal income tax by allowing taxpayers to claim a 100% deduction at filing for tip wages. So what is he saying? Is he saying that the limit is $25,000? The tax deduction will be up to $25,000 and is limited to workers who earn $160 or less in 2025. So if you make up to $25,000 in tips, hold on, locations near me, we don't want that. If you make up to $25,000 in tips and you make less than $160, you're able to deduct that from your taxable income. So let's say you get the max of $25,000 and you make $160, you're able to claim, what's that, $135 on your taxes rather than $160? Why is that a bad thing? I don't understand. So when I asked him the question about, okay, is the limit $25,000? It's right. It's right here. I'm reading it right here. Matter of fact, thank you, Ivan. I'm gonna do a video about this now, tomorrow, since I got the information. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It says it right here. The tax deduction will be up to $25,000. Hold on. And it's limited to workers who earn $160 or less in 2025. Now, is that kind of what it says? Or so if you make up to $160 and you earn up to $25,000 in tips, you could take the $25,000 and deduct it from your taxable income on your taxes. That's big. That's huge, bro. That is a great thing. I'm gonna do a video on that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You got frustrated because I figured you out real quick, and I got the app right here. Hold on. Now I'm gonna show it. So look, here's the bill straight from Congress.gov. Okay, so it says this bill establishes a new tax deduction of $25,000 for tips, subject to limitations. The bill also expands the business tax credit for the portion of payroll taxes an employer pays on certain tips to include payroll taxes paid on tips received in connection with certain beauty services like barbershop, beauty salons, etc. So not only will it help the person receiving the tips, like in the waitress role, or if you're a barber getting tips like this, you can also help the employer by helping them reduce their business taxes. Oh, that's beautiful. Man, listen. Bro, that is crazy. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a video on that. So yeah, shout out to him. I think that's a wrap for the calls. If you guys want to call in before I roll it out, the number to call 706-406-3287. So what do y'all think? Is that a good thing? The $25,000 max deduction off of your income, or is it a bad thing? Hey, you know what? I'm gonna say I made $25,000 in tips. Like, I'm gonna just claim that deduction to take that off of my, you see what I'm saying? Now I'm more likely to claim my tips, so I'm able to get that money off of it. And a lot of people that are tipped to employees are not making that much money, so they're able to. It's a good thing. Okay, 573 on line speaker 2. Okay, I guess I was a little bit later on that one. So shout out to 573, but I think that'll be a wrap for me. Hold on, let's try him one more time. And a lot of people that are Can you hear me, boss? 573.
Hey, Anthony.
Yes.
Anthony Brian Logan. It's JoJo.
All righty. What's happening?
How you doing, man? Listen, I just want to say something. You know, I'm listening to this stuff about Christianity and, you know, all this religion and stuff, and you know, I got a problem because I don't even think that most people know what a Christian is. You know, a Christian is a follower of Christ, and that's it. It's not someone who says I'm a Christian. It's not a religion that says I'm a Christian, and that's that, and I'm good because I'm a Christian. No, a Christian is a follower of Christ. That's the definition, and I just believe that Jesus, Christ himself, told us that we will know his true followers by the love among them, and they will keep themselves separate from worldly affairs, and they will have the 9 fruits of the Spirit. So you can call yourself whatever you want, man. I'm listening to this dude earlier, and I just couldn't believe it. So I just want everyone to know, man, love is among them. To be a Christian is to live like Christ. And that's that. I love you, brother. Peace.
Peace.
I'll see you more.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And I think that will be a wrap for me. Shout out to you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you heard tonight, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. But I'll be back live, of course. Same bat time, same bat place, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time to right around right now, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm here, well, not here on the YouTubes, but I'm also on the Instagrams live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm here all the time, every day, putting out pre-recorded content. Uncle ABL content is most certainly on the way. So look out for that as well. Subscribe to me on my everywhere. My Facebook, Instagram, whatever you got, I'm there. Just search for me. If you on a particular social media platform and you want to find me, just go ahead and search. I promise I'll pop up at a certain point. But that'll be a wrap for me. Shout out to you guys. Do I have super chats to read? I may or may not. I got a few right here. Before I read those, thank you to everybody who's been watching, retweeting, super chatting. I cannot do the show without you. You guys are the best. Thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls in check. I appreciate y'all for that as well. Look out for me on all your social media platforms. And of course, this is an audio streaming podcast you're listening to right now. You can find me on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Apple iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the box for the audio only version of this podcast. Or go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. All righty. I got super chats. I'll read. Then I wrap it on up. Put the bow clean, smooth on top. Thank you to Bob K. MIT who says, are super chats tips? Actually, they're not considered tips. That was a good question. Super chats are considered just part of your regular YouTube AdSense. They're not considered tips. That's a good question. Tips would be like PayPal donations, actually. That's a really good question. I wonder how it's classified in the law. Hey, man, I'm going to be like, you know what? They didn't give me all tips. I'm going to deduct the whole thing. Man, please. I wish I could. Hey, if they let me deduct PayPal, man, please. I'm going to deduct all of that. You hear me? I'm getting excited. Okay. But good question, Bob. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox who says super chats are tips. Hey, I wish they were, but the way super chats work, they are commingled with your YouTube AdSense revenue. If they were to separate it, then maybe. But since YouTube takes a piece off the rip, like 30%, and it's part of your YouTube AdSense revenue, it's commingled. But if you're able to get tips beyond that and it's labeled as a tip, then I think that might count. So like I say, PayPal, Cash App, stuff like that could be considered a tip and or a gift. I got to see the law. What do they classify that as? Yeah, I might have to call Trump, but like, yo, Trump, I got a question, bro. Now, as far as this whole no tax on tips things, do I qualify? Does my PayPal qualify? Like, what's going on? I got to figure that out. Good questions. Thank you to Rain, who says, then they should be called super tips. Hilarious. Y'all are funny. Alrighty. That'll be a wrap for me. You guys are the best. But until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.